Misfit Toys.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive. Are you thinking more about how to tighten up your budget these days? Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save over $700 on average. And customers can qualify for an average of 6 discounts when they sign up. A little off your rate each month goes a long way. Get a quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2020 and May 2021. Potential savings will vary. Discounts vary and are not available in all states and situations.
Aptitude, expertise, genius, gift.
I'm the fucking talent.
Hey, what's happening, Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. You know, as I speak to you this afternoon, as I talk into a microphone, there's a tragedy unfolding, unspooling, if you will, on the other side of the continent, certainly not the world, but on the other side of this country right now. The Philadelphia Phillies are in danger of missing the playoffs, and they're fumbling the bag in a way. I didn't think they could be more painful. This is a team that hasn't made the playoffs since 2011, right? So this year they went all in. They paid a bunch of big fucking hammers to come in and swing bats, and I thought they'd win a lot of games, like 11-5, 11-10, that kind of thing. Because they have no defense. They have a couple of great pitchers, a questionable bullpen, and then the big hammers, right? So here we are at the end of the season. And after having lost Bryce Harper, MV3, baseball Jesus himself, they lost him for like 7 weeks because he got hit by a pitch and broke his fucking thumb. And it was infuriating, but yet they rallied. They rallied behind a bunch of guys they called up from the minor leagues and stuff, and they got it done. They were scrappy. They dug deep, and when he came back, they were in the playoffs. They were a playoff team. And then they have fallen off a fucking cliff. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And here's the deal. Like I said, they signed a bunch of big bats. But now they can't hit. As the season is fizzling away, they've now lost 4 in a row, and they're in the process of losing their 5th. They're going to get swept by the Cubs at Wrigley Field. What the fuck is that? You know who the Cubs are fielding? A bunch of guys I knew in high school. They're not even fucking trying at this point. They've got 8 minor leaguers who they think have some promise, and then a bunch of dudes. It's like Major League in reverse. Remember when they brought in a bunch of shitty people and then they won? The Cubs, they just went ahead and brought in a bunch of great people, then sold them off, and now they're just this fucking barren franchise that people are wandering through like a yard without a fence. But fucking unbelievably, they're killing the Phillies. And the Phils are just, I don't know what to do. And it's this thing where, look, I'm 55 years old. I'm an old man, all right? You can hear it in my voice. Can you hear it creak? Doesn't it just sound like a short sleeve button shirt? That's how my voice sounds. And I shouldn't care about sports anymore because I've been lucky enough to see all of my franchises win, and I've also dealt with the pain of watching my franchises get fucking curb stomped for fucking years, right? But it's a fun investment, and whether it's fantasy sports or regular sports, I enjoy it. I'm not a psychopath who, throws a fucking thing through the window, or you ever see those guys who punch their TV or any of that shit. I don't do that anymore. When I was a kid, certainly I cried when the Phillies would lose, whatever. This is not even a joke. When I was a kid, I would pray to Jesus himself, the Lord above, if he's up there, if you believe in such things, there's a God and a Jesus and a bunch of other dudes with beards, and I would pray, hey, please make sure the Raiders win. All of my teams. Like, I could actually, I won't bore you with it, but I had a recital, like I would talk, there was this opening preamble to my prayers, and then I would have a discussion with the Lord. And that's, again, this is when I was a youngster, so I mean, that was then. And this is now, as the monkeys will tell you. Well, they won't tell you that now because there's only three of them are up there with the Beards guys. There's only one monkey left. And how sad is this? This monkey is still touring. This is completely true. I went and saw Mike Nesmith and Mickey Dolenz doing their monkeys thing. And Mike Nesmith was a shambling husk. It was alarming. I'm not going to lie. I was like, Jesus Christ. Because I had a seat that had a vantage point to off stage, the wings. And there were handlers who would bring Mike Nesmith up to the edge of the curtain and stand there with him until it was time for him to go. And then they'd shove him to go toward the stage. Like, I mean, that dude looked like Biden fucking wandering around in the mist. So, I remember I went with, Pat and I went, but Pat and I sat separately because he was with his friend David. And we, afterwards I go, dude, that was rough. And then I had a different seat than them, so I could tell them what I saw. They're like, oh, Jesus, yeah. Because there was one point where he was just rambling, and he wouldn't stop rambling, and people kind of applauded, like, hey, you're done rambling now. And he kept rambling. And then Mickey came out, and he's like, oh, right, Mike, here we go. That was then, da-da-da. Remember when you had a stocking cap with a little tuft ball on top, and now you don't even know your own name? That's fun, isn't it? So they did their thing, and then I'm not joking. 2 weeks later, Mike Nesmith died. He was gone. And so I feel... I'm happy that I was able to capture those moments where I was there because I had never seen the Monkees. And the reason I bought a ticket to this show was they had said, this is it, man. No more Monkees shows after this show. We're done. This is our farewell deal. And I think it's because they knew Mike was having issues. So they were like, this is our last tour. Yay. So they packed up Mike in a crate and dragged him onto a box dolly, and they dragged him onto a truck. And then they went from city to city, and Mickey was very happy with his sister in the band, and it was a Mickey show, and Mike was there. But they called it the Monkees, and they did a bunch of Monkey songs, and it was fine. I was thrilled. But then they had said it was the last show ever, and then there was some postponement in Louisville. So I'm not even kidding. A week before the LA show, they're like, hey, Louisville, we've rescheduled a date. And I'm like, you fucking assholes. You can't... For your legacy, you were going to close it at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles, where it all started for you guys. That was the whole deal. This is your legacy. You're closing it here. But for one more cash grab, for one more payday of what couldn't be any more than, I don't know, $50,000 each that you do not need. Although maybe they do. I don't know. Mickey Dolenz, who knows what he's done with his fucking cash? Circus boy out there blowing it on whores and tigers. And Mike Nesmith, his family, they were all lined up with their hands out, I'm sure, because they realized this was it. So they announced that was happening. I'm like, this isn't even the fucking last show, you dicks. But then the aforementioned Jesus himself, God and the bearded dude, stepped in and went, you know what? Mike Schmidt bought this ticket for a fucking reason, man. And I refuse to let the Louisville show go forward. Goodbye, Mike. And hello, Mike. And then Mike went up to heaven, where he and Frank Zappa are having a long chat because Mike Nesmith loved him. And I think Frank Zappa liked Mike, but I don't know if they became friends, true friends. Mike Nesmith also was more than the Monkees. He was that guy. Mike Nesmith actually walked off the Monkees for a while. And then they were like, well, we'll just do shows without Mike. And maybe the kids won't notice or whatever the fuck. There's one show specifically, it's on like a pirate ship. And it's just Davey and Peter and Mickey with no Mike. And you're like, what the fuck? Is Mike in the brig? Like, what the fuck happened to this guy? Even as a kid, you realize Mike was gone. But look, man, commerce never stops. And if the guy with the stocking hat and the monkey says, hey, man, I got some demands, you go, you know what we're going to do? We're going to Johnny Bravo the shit out of you, see if the hat fits somebody else. But first, we'll film some shows without you. How do you like that? But now Mike Nesmith is gone. He's gone up, as I've mentioned, to the giant stage in the sky, leaving Mickey Dolenz, who had promised us all that final show at the Greek was the final show until the rescheduled Louisville show, which wound up getting canceled because the Lord above stole Mike Nesmith away and his meal ticket went to heaven. So Mickey Dolenz was out of luck, right? Wrong, friends. Oh, so wrong, because Mickey Dolenz himself went, you know what, man? I mean, monkey schmonkeys. This is the Mickey show, man. And so he is back on the road as I think he's back on the road as Mickey salutes the Monkees, which brings up all sorts of military connotations that I had never once thought of. I mean, the Monkees came up during Vietnam, and one of their things was they had a staunch anti-war stance. But now, if it's a salute to the Monkees, then that means that they're in some sort of capacity where I have to consider them my betters. If I were in the military, are they going to make me do push-ups? I mean, look, there can be no tougher drill sergeant out there than Peter Tork, as he sings Anti-Griselda in your face while you try to do the flexed arm hang. Jesus Christ. All right, so Mickey's out there. So if you're going to go see him, why not, right? Spend the money. Go see him warble into the fucking dark, unbelievably. I don't know why it's happening. What are you doing, Mickey? Fucking take a break. These dudes, and again, like I've said before, I know I'm at odds with myself. I'm at loggerheads with myself, if you will, because I've often said, look, if you're a rock star, why the fuck would you ever retire? If anyone's willing to pay $1 to fucking see you, you do it. Yeah, I don't give a fuck if you're busking in a subway station with a hat in front of you and you're bringing home decent cash. Go ahead and do it. What are you going to do? Open an Excel sheet? I mean, get the fuck out of here. It's Mickey Dolenz. Is he going to go to a cubicle? No. But also, to me, to my end and my thinking, Mickey should have enough money to where he doesn't do a fucking thing. He doesn't have to go to a cubicle or an Excel sheet. He's got to have a house with so many aloe plants, right? Doesn't he have got to have some agave outside? He's got several succulents. This guy has got to have some cash stored away, I would imagine, I would hope. He was a monkey, for Christ's sake. And again, circus boy before that. And certainly there was a long period where he was just, hey, look, that guy's from the Monkees, but now he's Mickey again. And so he's made all this money with the tours. When they did that was then and this is now. I hope he was banking it. What's he spending it on? Fucking drugs? You can't do drugs when you're fucking 70. You don't know what'll happen. I mean, anything you do, any Dristan, any Advil, anything you put in your body when you're 75 years old could be the end of you. That's it. And let's be honest, it's not just medicine. If you're 75 years old and you eat a fucking Butterfinger wrong, you could fucking die. It's just, you're just eating shrapnel. That's because that's all Butterfinger is. It's shrapnel encased in chocolate, which sounds delicious, really. Peanut butter shrapnel, if you say peanut butter shrapnel, okay, now it's delicious. But shrapnel covered in chocolate, that just sounds like something that the Germans would offer you as a final meal before they killed you at Auschwitz. I mean, Jesus Christ. Did they give a final meal to people? I don't think they did. I think they just tricked them and gassed them because they're fucking awful. And yet, here we are. What do we do to this day? We eat bratwurst. Remember what those people did? Think about it every time you climb into your Mercedes, you fuck. I know, sin's the father. I know, I get it. But anything, if you're 75 years old, everything's a coin flip. You put your shoes on wrong and you wind up in traction. I mean, your whole, because you've had that, your body's a machine. I've talked about this many times before. Your body's a machine that's just, it's been running. My body's been running for 55 years. And, I have not changed the oil as often as I should. I'm not going to lie to you. And oftentimes, instead of oil, I'm pouring sucrose and fucking high fructose corn syrup directly into the oil fucking chassis or whatever it is. And so my body's just like, yeah, well, we're going to do what we can. We're going to eventually smoke will just come pouring out of me and I'll have to pull over and somebody will drag me to a fucking station to get fucking fixed. But once you hit certain ages, man, anything you do, you're like, hey, I like apples, crunch. Oh my God, my teeth fell out. You have to be careful about textures and you go to soft food, even bananas though. You peel a banana wrong, you break your wrist. I mean, you're just frail. You're fragile. You're bent over. You're gnarled. You need a cane at this point. You need 2 canes. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have 2 canes. When I get older, I'm not just going to have 1 cane. I'm going to have 2 canes. Not even like the fucking, because there are people who have, unfortunately, debilitating physical diseases, and they have to put those things, the metal ones, where they slide their hands in and they grab the handle, like the kid on Breaking Bad had it. I'm not talking about that. I'm going to have like 2 fucking wolf's head canes. Like, and people are like, don't you just need 1 cane? I'm like, oh, contraire. Because if you hear like clomp, clomp, click, you're like, oh shit, here comes a guy with a cane. If you hear click, clomp, click, clomp, click, clomp, click, clomp, I could be on a horse. You got no fucking clue. I go 4-legged. I give you 2 doses of 2 different sounds. If you go 1 sound, 2 sound, you go, oh, there's a guy with a cane. If you go 2 sound, 2 sound, you're like, fuck, it's a horse. And that's what I want in my old age. I want people to mistake me for a horse. That's what I've been thinking for a long time in my equine-stained brain. How are you? I'm okay. There's a show later. Stick around for that. Let's do some plugs, shall we? Let's do that. Because I say this, I'm not sure, I don't know. I think I'm holding people hostage with this opening part. But I like this opening part. What the fuck? Why do I? No, you guys don't want to hear this fucking bullshit questioning. All right. Did you know that I'm part of the Misfit Toys Co-op? I am. What? Yes, that's right. There's several shows in the Misfit Toys Co-op. Let's talk about them, shall we? How about the No Fun Show with Jen Kirkman? By the way, remember I've been plugging her Anxiety Bites podcast? Also ended. Remember I mentioned last week that Jonah Ray's podcast had ended? Or it's out there still. You can get the archives. Well, Jen's our Anxiety Bites was a limited run series. And it's fantastic. It's ways to deal with anxiety. She spoke with experts. She dealt with her own personal experiences. Personal. But the main thing you want to listen to is No Fun with Jen Kirkman. It's a fantastic show. It's an ongoing concern, and she's lovely and talented in it. Just fucking sharp and getting right to the meat of the matter. So fucking good and funny. That's the thing. It's like, if she's just jerking off and doing somersaults, you're just like, whatever the fuck, that's just my show. But if she's funny and smart and nailing it, then you're like, all right, well, it's fucking Jen Kirkman. That's the Jen Kirkman we've come to expect and love and adore. And she's there, right now. Part of the Misfit Toys Co-op. It's the No Fun with Jen Kirkman show. Go ahead and download it today. Also, if you're thinking to yourself, hey, where can I hear a guy actually sweat? That's gonna be your Todd Glass show when you download it. That is a moist man. Todd Glass is moist. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like Todd, good friend. He's a moist gentleman. But you know why? Because he's working so hard for you, and he's working his way back to you, babe, with a burning love inside. He keeps working his way back to you, babe. with a happiness that I need to get away. Ooh, 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 praying every day. I can't do the deep voice. I was so in love with you. You would listen to Todd Glass too. He's great. Go listen to the Todd Glass Show. But he's working and he's constantly talking and he's nailing it. He's crushing it with his incredible Todd Glassness. But also, you can physically hear him sweat. You can hear him secrete. You want to hear a guy secrete? Tune into the Todd Glass Show. That is a secreting gentleman. But lovely and talented and also fucking terrific. But still slick. Slick is the top of your outdoor pool. He's a wet man. Todd's a wet man. You can't deny this. And yet still a genius. That's the thing. If you can be wet 24/7, that's mean. If you can be physically dripping 24/7 and yet also be a genius worthy of people paying attention to you and listening to you and laughing at everything you fucking say, that's a special kind of talent. We all only aspire to that. We all wish we could be Todd Glass. You know who? Although I don't care so much, I wouldn't want to be Todd Glass's shirt. I'll tell you that. I mean, what can I have? I gotten my point across? He does. He works hard for you and sweats, so you can actually hear it on the podcast. But I don't know if you'll be able to hear it over the cacophonous gales of humor that are coming bursting out of your iPod vagina, right into your head. The Todd Glass Show, also part of the Misfit Toys Co-op. Go ahead and check it out now, today. Well, not now. I'm talking, motherfucker. What the fuck are you doing? You gonna fucking split and leave me in the fucking dust? How dare you? Put moistness on a shelf. Stick with my dry voice right now, because my voice right now is dry as a bone. Sounds good, though. Hi, this is Mike Schmidt. My voice is dry as a bone. How do I not get voiceover work? Listen to that. That's my audition right there. Hi, I like Folgers coffee. Hire this man immediately. Why wouldn't you do it? What toothpaste do I use? Well, I use Close-Up, because I enjoy the exciting cinnamon burst. See, look at this. Give me a goddamn job. I need to be working and selling things right now. Kraft macaroni and cheese. It's the cheesiest. See? God damn it, Hollywood. What's wrong with you? Not that Hollywood runs the macaroni and cheese industry. Maybe macaroni and cheese can hear me. You know what? Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong. I'm appealing to Hollywood. I'm like, hey, Hollywood, hire me. And I should go to individual concerns. Hey, Mac, tell cheese to fucking get on board and sign me up, for fuck's sake. No one will make you sound quite nearly as delicious. Although I guess with a dry voice like mine, I should be selling beverages. Let's try that. Couldn't you go for a nice, cool Pepsi right now? I know I could, because as you can hear, the inside of my throat looks like the desert floor in Arizona. That's right, it's got all of those cracks. Do you have that crackonomia, or whatever the fuck that disease is, where if you see them, it makes you sick? Don't look in my throat. Holy Christ, my throat it's a horror show. It's like a cracked desert floor. Right now, you don't know this, because all you're hearing is my dulcet tones, but and you realize it's dry, but you don't realize how dry. If you were here right now, there's a sand dune on my desk. It comes flying out of my mouth every time I speak. I am just coughing up more and more sand. So hi, how about a nice refreshing Pepsi? That's me cracking the can and making it fizz. All right. I can sell, look, what products do you have? I can sell it. Hey, do you like hot sauce? I like hot sauce. Buy hot sauce. Doesn't matter what kind. I'm here from the hot sauce industry. Keep us alive. What a voiceover guy. Look at the future I have ahead of me as I sit here combing through the sand looking for the microphone so I make sure my voice isn't dulled. I don't want to be dulled. Dull is the finish on your Stratocaster when you left it in the garage for 20 years because you couldn't really play it and you tried to fool people that you could, and then they found out you couldn't, so you got embarrassed and you put it on a goddamn shelf and now you just stare at it forlornly. See, that's what you do when you don't breathe and you just talk. You try to push it out to the edge there. I was overcome by sand. Doug loves movies. Well, first of all, let's break this down. Let's unpack this. Do you know Doug? You might. Doug Benson, fantastic comedian. Super high-me Doug Benson, beloved by millions. Not only a treat on stage, but off stage, he's got a podcast that you should know about. Now, you know Doug. We mentioned this. I've already clarified who Doug is. Doug Benson, one of your favorite comedians. Well, let me ask you this. If you know Doug, do you know what Doug loves? First of all, and before I even get that far, do you know that Doug loves? Yeah, that's right. He's a human being, capable of emotions. He's not just some fucking put a quarter in me laugh machine here for your entertainment. This is a man with actual deep feelings that he has for people and products and whatever the fuck else he loves. I don't know what it is. Look, I can't get to the point about what he loves because I don't know the man that well. He's a friend. We've never discussed his loves, other than this one particular love that I'm about to tell you about right now. Look, I know Doug loves weed. All right, I take that back. I don't know about one specific love. I know several loves of Doug Benson. The many loves of Doug Benson. It's kind of like the impossible falsetto of Philip Bailey. The many loves of Doug Benson. That's in my head because I was in the shower and Easy Lover played today. I have a shower playlist, you know what I mean? It hops around, and sometimes it's just like 100 songs, whatever plays. And you know my rule, I can't get out of the shower if it's a bad song because I'm going to have a bad day. It sets a tone. So I got out of the shower today to Easy Lover by Philip Bailey and Phil Collins. And by the way, I may have transposed the credit for that song. It's a Phil Collins song with Philip Bailey. But the second Philip Bailey pops in and goes, she's the kind of girl you dream of taking hold of. I can't do it. Doesn't mean I didn't subject you to it now, and now you're bleeding. But there's nothing I can do about that, friend. See a doctor. If only you were here, I would cough sand into your ear to stanch the bleeding. So I had that thought. I go, man, what did Phil Collins think when I asked Philip Bailey to be on the song, and it's like in the video you can see the second Philip Bailey sings. There's kind of this palpable, oh man, you know. I feel like Letterman, when Letterman would see something he'd like, and he'd be like, that's how it's done. That's, you know, if you're looking to blow the roof off the dump, if you're just looking for the best of the best, if you're just looking for something that it's money in the bank, you're going to call on the impossible falsetto of Philip Bailey. And he comes out and he earths, and then he wins, and then he fires, and you're like, God damn it, Philip Bailey. You can't do any more. And then he easy levers the shit out of you. And you're like, if you're like Phil Collins, you just sit there and you go, yeah, no, this was a good move. This was a smart move. Because, you know, Phil Collins was only bringing in Philip Bailey because of the Phil factor. Sorry, that made me laugh. I couldn't even get to the explanation. He said, get me a Phil. I need a Phil on this song. That's how Phil Collins envisioned it. It wasn't even like, he didn't say, get me the impossible falsetto of Philip Bailey. He was like, you know what I need? I need another Phil. Let's go with a Phil and a Phil. And they're like, what about Phil Lynott? And he's like, I love Phil Lynott. Died 8 years ago. And you're like, fuck. These Irish guys got to quit drinking and vomiting in their sleep. Because otherwise, let me ask you this. How much better is Easy Lover? And I love Philip Bailey. But how great is Easy Lover if Phil Lynott is on it with Phil Collins? Holy Jesus, that would be amazing. There are very few guitar riffs that can kill a man. But the riff to Jailbreak can absolutely fucking kill a man. It's like I've said, the riff to, I had this discussion with somebody the other day. Like somebody was talking about what an idiot Ted Nugent was. And we're like, yes, clearly, Ted Nugent is a fucking clown. But he is responsible for 4 of the greatest riffs in the history of rock music. And I had said 3, and then the 3 that I named Stranglehold, I named Free For All, and I named Wango Tango. And my friend goes, how do you forget Cat Scratch Fever? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, 4, goddammit. And now that I think about it, there's probably more. Because also my buddy named Great White Buffalo, I go, that's a jam. It's great. It's really good. But as far as a riff, Nugent was a riff guy, a complete riff guy. And the riff to Stranglehold, fucking dude. By the way, you should see the sand. It's all over my apartment now, just from this dry voice coughing up the fucking riff to Stranglehold. And then the fucking riff to Free For All. Never before have I turned like you when you look too good to me. Your beady eyes, so they cut me in two, and I just can't let you be. My throat's fucked. Hold on. Stakes are high, and so am I. It's in the air tonight. Dudes, come on. Why is Ted Nugent such a fuckhead? But then, of course, Cat Scratch Fever. Even the opening note of Cat Scratch Fever. You know, I mean, that'll kill butt. You don't even need the rest. All you need is that opening, like, fucking 2 seconds of Cat Scratch Fever, and people are dying all over the place. You're laying waste to your enemies. What a fucking riff. And so yeah, and so Phil Lynott comes up with the Jailbreak riff. And look, and I'll fight you for the boys are back in town. That's fine. But the riff to Jailbreak, dude, because it opens with the whole band just goes like this weird explosion of noise, and then there's like the fucking snare I think hits, and then it goes tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak somewhere in the town. There's gonna be trouble, so don't you be around. That's my Phil Lynott. It's bad. It's very bad. You're gonna find yourself in... Dude, fucking Phil Lynott's a jam. Lizzie's a goddamn jam. Why did he die? Guy's got a fucking statue. What a genius. And speaking of fucking lunkheads who write great riffs. All right, listen. Although he didn't even write it. I don't think he wrote this. I think Pete Townsend wrote it. So yeah, Pete Townsend's a fucking genius. So he wrote this riff. But in the movie Tommy in 1975, a bunch of people covered the music from Tommy. You know what I mean? They covered the rock opera and they starred in the movie or whatever. But there's a song called Eyesight to the Blind. And honestly, I'm failing. If Pat Francis was here, he would steer me in the right direction because he's a rock solid guy who knows about rock solid things. And he would tell me who wrote this song. I'm anticipating because it's in the movie. I'm assuming the who wrote it. Dare I Google? Should I Google right now? Let's Google. Fuck. What the hell? Because what are you doing right now? You gonna leave? I don't think you are. At this point, you're like, what's the next riff Mike's going to bring out of his fucking throat? Eyesight to the Blind. It says song by Eric Clapton, so that he might have written the goddamn thing. Hold on. Yeah, okay. I'm seeing now. Let me see if it's on Wiki. Okay, so it's off of the Florida album. Oh, wait, Eyesight to the Blind is a 12-bar blues song written and recorded in 1951 by Sonny Boy Williamson. Hold on a second. Wait a second. All right. Several musicians subsequently recorded it in a variety of styles. The Who adapted it for their rock opera Tommy. All right, there we go. That makes sense. So Sonny Boy Williamson, I've got to hear his version now. I'm very excited about this. Released in 1951, recorded January 4th of 1951. That's version 1. It was on the Trumpet label, produced by Lillian McMurray. She didn't know what she had in a Sonny Boy Williamson. So there you go. Eyesight to the Blind, invented by Sonny Boy Williamson. Now I have to hear if his riff lives up to it. That'd be fucking... I'm sure it does. His name's Sonny Boy. I used to have a buddy named Pete Moore in Chicago, and he would do jokes about blues clubs, and he said he had a joke he had a job as a... He did a bit about an MC at a blues club. You won't believe who just walked in. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Blind Lemon Fulton. It was like always, and the names got progressively sillier, but it was always that guy. I'm happy you're here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You will not believe who walked in. Pete Moore, by the way, one of the funniest men of all time. Pete Moore, when I did that fucking website where we just wrote sketches, Load, I told you about it a million times. Did I ever say the name? I don't know if I did. Load, whatever. I worked there. I hired Pat. Then we used to bring in Jimmy all the time. It was really fun. We brought in Schwaba and fucking people. Well, I hired Pete Moore and Danielle Koenig to be the core four were me, Pat, Danielle, and Pete Moore. And it's because Pete Moore, Pat suggested him, and I thought about it. I'm like, he just is an idea guy. He would just churn out fucking ideas all day. And it was perfect for those 10-second fucking sketches we did, 15 seconds, whatever they were, because they were just silly, dumb things. He came up with a guy named Shoe Doctor. They were just dumb. I don't know if Pete Moore has a TikTok, but he absolutely should, because fuck, he was just churning out that stuff all the goddamn time, and it was fucking awesome. And then Danielle came in, and she's a fucking brilliant writer, and Pat is Pat, and I did whatever I did, and then we brought in other people. But so Pete Moore, one of the funniest guys of all time. You won't believe who just walked in. It was so great, the bit. So Sonny Boy Williamson sounds like somebody that Pete would introduce as his character. So I didn't know Sonny Boy Williamson did that song, but that riff, if Sonny Boy Williamson wrote the riff, or if Clapton tightened it up, or if it's the actual riff in the Who song, I don't know. But if you watch Tommy, or go listen to this song, Eyesight to the Blind, off of the Tommy soundtrack, the riff in that will also murder somebody. Be careful. You got to go in with fucking tiptoe in. Don't sneak up on it because it'll fucking explode right in your goddamn face. God damn it, it's a fucking riff. All right, in the same vein, Same guy. And I've talked about this song on here too. It's up there, possibly my favorite Who song of all time. And it's because I'm partial to Pete. So I'm partial to Pete singing, and I'm partial to Pete's solo stuff. The Sea Refuses No River. Let's go. Do me yourself a favor. If you haven't heard it in a while, go listen to Rough Boys. Oh my God, dude. I put on a Pete Townsend playlist this week and just fucking, like I said, the Sea Refuses, Give Blood, Face to Face, Brilliant Blues, the Sea Refuses No River, Slit Skirts, and fucking Rough Boys, and of course, Let My Love Open the Door, the two different versions, the single version, and there was the one that was on Gross Point Blank, like the really soft version. I don't even know how to explain the different version of it, but it's fucking beautiful. And so I listened to some Pete Townsend this week, but boy, my favorite Who song, Eminence Front. And I've talked about it on here before, because the riff in that also, that song sounds like a fight. Because it starts out with like, it's got the fucking keyboard thing in the beginning, but it's a sequencer and it changes and it loops, and then the drum goes boom 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 boom, bow down down down, bow down down down, bow down down down. I went down a chord there, but it doesn't. It's the same way all the way through. A chord, or note, a falsetto. I don't know what the fuck they're called. A key. I don't have keys. Megs, right now, Megs, if he's hearing this, he's just hating me. He's like, you have no musical talent, you can't sing. It's the first thing he always tells me when we do the interlude. He goes, listen to me, don't try to sing this. Don't sing. Just do what you're told. I'm like, all right, cool. But that, so down, 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 down. And then, sunshine. People forget. Fucking Pete Townsend. God damn it. I don't know if I'd ever stop hugging Pete Townsend if I met him. Again, like I said, Rough Boys played, and I hadn't heard it in a while. If you haven't heard it in a while, and then you throw it on, you're like, God damn it. And yes, all right, look, I know the lyrics. So what? Grow up. It's one of those things where, like, when you heard it as a kid, you even heard the lyrics, you're like, all right, this kind of sounds like, nah, it's Pete Townsend's The Who. That's probably not it. Like if David Bowie sang a song like that, you'd be like, oh yeah, of course, Rough Boys, I want to bite and kiss you, or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I want to buy you leather. I get it. It makes sense. But Pete Townsend, he had never, in my mind, he had never exhibited any of that. And then you get older and you read about Pete Townsend and his dynamic within the band, and essentially the fact that Roger Daltrey used to beat him up every day until he made him the singer, or whatever the fuck. And then, Pete's had some adventurous times in his life. So I'm like, all right, I think Pete's a switch hitter, whatever the fuck. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fantastic. But also Pete is a sensitive soul. But also he's also incredibly angry all the time. Like I saw them at the VH1 Honors concert where they attributed The Who. And Pearl Jam was there. And I think the Foo Fighters did a song, fucking Flaming Lips. And Wayne Coyne did the fucking inflatable ball nonsense. And it was great. It was a great show. So Pete Townsend, The Who, comes out to close it. And his speaker didn't work, his amp. And he was so fucking mad, he fucking hit it with the guitar, he kicked it, he's like, fuck! And they had to start over, they had to retake the whole thing. It was fun. But it was good to be in the room for that. Because Pete's an angry guy. It's just simmering and just underneath the surface, you can tell when you hear his songs. A song I listen to him, I put on the playlist. You ever hear the song Save It for Later? I think I've talked about that on here. By General Public. It was written by Dave Wakeling. And he got a phone call, Dave Wakeling, once from Pete Townsend, telling him that how much the song meant to him and how amazing it was, and asking if he could do the song. And Dave Wakeling's just like gobsmacked that fucking Pete Townsend's on his phone. It's a fucking great story. But just like it's the same story as like when Dave Grohl didn't know that Prince was going to do Best of You at the Super Bowl. Dave Grohl tells that story. He's at some Super Bowl party or whatever, the game's on, and Prince is doing the halftime show, and they're like, holy fuck, he's amazing. Because he is. It's the greatest halftime show of all time. And then he does Best of You, and Dave Grohl's just like, and everybody's looking at him like, whoa, dude! Because he had no idea. And that's beautiful, man. It's just, to see your art appreciated by people you admire, holy fuck-a-moly, that's got to be the greatest thing of all time. I wouldn't know. But I'm sure it's a great feeling. So our friend Doug, I don't know if you know about this, he loves things, certainly. He feels strongly. He's capable of human emotion. Did you think Doug a robot? Au contraire. Did you think Doug just an unfeeling hunk of weed smoke? Incorrect. Did you think of him as the uncaring bung resin that you have to scrape out? Oh no, I'm getting an update. No, don't kill. I'm recording something. Dude, fuck you. Remind me. skip this version. Jesus Christ. I'm recording a show. And again, it's a one-take Jake. So if that would have interrupted the recording, I'd have been furious. This might be a good time to address this before I talk about the other thing. Today's show, we started it, and then I talked for a while, and I thought I said some funny things, and then we were having some technical difficulties. And Lily's like, all right, you got to sign out. I'm like, well, we just did like fucking 8 minutes of audio, and I don't want to, whatever it was, 6 minutes. I go, I don't want to lose that. She's like, well, I'll send them both to you. And I go, all right, well, I'll put it in the show. I go, but then I thought to myself, well, if the tech stuff is fucking shitty, then you guys are going to turn the show off and be pissed. I don't know. So look, when I put these in here, the first 7 minutes of me and Lily, I think, is going to be, there might be some stuff. But I thought there was enough funny in it to where it was worth keeping. So I don't know. And you know me, I'm petrified of amateur night nonsense, but at the same time, I don't want to lose something that was funny. I like humor. So brace yourselves. Whenever I'm done talking here and giving you plugs that you can use, please know that there's going to be audio, and the first 7 minutes there might be an echo or something. And it was enough, me, I want to just quit. I want to run and dive into the sea. Because I don't like putting out product that's terrible. I also don't like the fact that, we're doing something here. And if I, as I've mentioned, extemporaneously speaking off the top of my head for 8 minutes, and then they go, hey, wait, we got to stop. And you're like, are we going to lose all that? Because literally that was just brilliance I created right now. And it's going to be disappearing into the ether if we never use it. Because it's not like I can remember stuff. It's not like I can go back and go, see, it's different. It's different now. It just feels wrong. See, I can't play. I can't. I lost it. I lost the riff. So just don't yell at me for the first 7 minutes of me and Lily. Because then after that, there's a longer chunk that's a tech clean, worry-free, plug and play, Key and Peele, Rizzoli and Isles, Tom and Jerry, Peaches and Herb. It's something with an ampersand. Please enjoy it. Our friend Doug, strongly emotional, has attachments to many, many things, loves a lot of them. But one thing I can tell you for sure, Doug specifically loves, because I will say again, I think he loves weed, but that's just a presumption on my part. I've never seen Doug go, I love weed. I've never seen Doug have a show called, Doug Loves Weed. But I can assume very strongly Doug loves weed, but that's an assumption. If you want something confirmed, I've got it for you right here. Our friend Doug loves movies. What? Yes, he does. It's a podcast right now on the Misfit Toys Co-op. Doug Loves Movies. Check it out now. Go ahead and listen to it. It's fantastic. It's Doug and his famous friends and his not-so-famous friends discussing film and everything surrounding it. Talking about movies, playing some games, learning about Cuba, having some food. It's all there. Go ahead and check out Doug Loves Movies at the Misfit Toys Co-op, please. Waiting for you right now. And, of course, Never Not Funny is part of the Misfit Toys Co-op. That's Never Not Funny. It's 3 words. Our good friend, well, it's the gang. We know it's the gang. It's Garen and Elliot. And then, of course, the lovely Matt Belknap. Said it through a yawn. So powerful, I had to crush it through a yawn. Matt Belknap and the lovely and talented James Pardo. James Riddle Pardo. James R. Pardo. Jimmy Pardo. Matt Belknap, Elliot Hochberg, and of course the lovely Garen Cockrell. They are the gang. They make up Never Not Funny, and I understand they just released an episode with Cristela Alonso, who did not get the memo that the show was going to be on camera. I'm teasing. Cristela Alonso, a delightful woman and a wonderful talent, and not necessarily in that order. And but in her photograph, she's wearing a Boston concert T-shirt. But in my brain, I was like, well, that totally fits the vibe of the show. Like at first, I thought I was like, oh boy, okay, that's a choice. But then I went, well, wait a minute, she's in a fucking podcast, first of all, and second of all, these guys, all they do all day is talk about fucking, ridiculous old bands. If you want to talk about Orleans for 45 minutes, go on Never Not Funny. Well, by the way, it's not like you get to pick. It's not like you're like, hey, can I come on? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on Never Not Funny and talk about Orleans. Because the way Jimmy works it, you might not get on the show, but even if you get on the show, you don't get to fucking call the shots. It's not like you're going to be like, here, I'm here to talk about Orleans and how Still the One is just a modern masterpiece. Still the one to go to when you want a song about stilling the one. And then he's going to be like, boo, get out of here. And then they'll play a trivia game and roll dice for 4 hours. Never Not Funny is available to you right now anywhere you get good podcasts, as well as Doug Loves Movies, the Todd Glass Show, and No Fun with Jen Kirkman. Go please listen to them. Misfit Toys Co-op. I'm part of it. Why shouldn't you be? I check that. Why aren't you? That's right. I make it a challenge to you. Develop a show and get popular and get picked up at the Misfit Toys. Who wants to hire me for stuff? Everybody. Do you want me to do a cameo? I promise not to talk like that. What the fuck was that? Hire me to do a cameo. I'll call you. I'll say good things or bad things. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Child wins spelling bee? I'm happy to address it. Child fails at science fair? I will taunt them mercilessly. Wife cheating? I'll call her out. Husband not as exciting as he used to be, causing the love to flow out of your marriage? I will address it. Whatever you need me to do. I can be your counselor. I can be your lover. I'm a bitch. I'm a lover. I'm a something. I'm a mother. I'm a sinner. I'm a saint. I don't know if those are the words. But I'm all of those things for you for $15, for all 20. It's 20. The Cameo Consortium. The Cameo Consortium gets $5, but I get 15, and that's important. God knows I need $15. Do you know how much I need $15 right now? There's a shawarma truck up the street. Shawarma. That's what I pronounced it like that. Instead of just saying shawarma, I said shawarma. That's how important it is to me. I punched the W. That's how important it is. And it's right up the street. It's $15. So if you hire me for a cameo, all right, I'll make this deal with you. How about this? If you hire me for a cameo, I will go buy a shawarma, and then I will do the cameo with the shawarma in the shot. just out of reach. I mean, look, I could also, if you really want to do it, if you get some bananas fetish, I'll eat the shawarma on camera if you prefer that. But I'm not kidding. There is a shawarma truck that parks 4 blocks from my house now. And I will go there and I will buy the 15 because you'll pay for it. If you hire me for cameo, I get $15. So I will go there and purchase the $15 shawarma and bring it to my home. And I will and look, whatever you want. I can take a picture of myself with said shawarma and send it to you after the cameo. I can buy the shawarma and just have it on camera with me, or I can actually eat said shawarma while I'm doing your cameo. Who doesn't want a cameo of me eating an awesome shawarma? God damn it. So that's the deal. That's I put that to you. Every week I have a different deal for cameo. There's the new deal. But you have to tell me that's what you want. If you hire me for a cameo, I'm not just going to get the shawarma and then come back and then you're like, hey, my sister's going into the nunnery. And I'm going to be like, God damn it, I got to talk about Jesus and habits with this fucking chick while I'm eating a shawarma? That's bad. So I don't want to look like a clown. I'm not a buffoon, mind you. I enjoy a good shawarma. I like a Middle Eastern sandwich. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not a clown. I'm not here to amuse you. And here's 2 things I'll say about that. I'm not here to amuse you, which is terrible news for a comedy podcast, or I'm not here to amuse you, which the previous 40 minutes has just proved. Has been proven by the previous 40 minutes. God damn it, I should have had that better. So that's it, shawarma cameo week. You want to book me for a cameo? I will literally go buy a shawarma and whatever you tell me to do with it. Well, I mean, I'm going to shove it up my ass, but if you want me to eat it on camera, I will. If you want me to just hold it up and show it to you in the cameo, I will. Or if you're just like, hey man, get a shawarma afterwards. Here you go. Say a cool thing to my child about his 4th grade dinosaur collection, and then also get yourself a shawarma. Here you go, a little something for the effort, a little boom boom. It's like I'm working the door in Goodfellas. Leota comes through and he's like, here you go. He slides a 20 in my pocket and goes, get a shawarma. And it's a shawarma and a tip right there, son. And I'll say, thanks. I'm glad I'm opening doors for a 22-year-old gangster. And then he'll walk through the kitchen. And then all of the Chinese guys who work in the kitchen will be like, oh, who's this guy? And all the Hispanic guys who work in the kitchen will be like, great, another rich asshole. You can't view any movie through the prism of now. The prism of now. Not quite the impossible fellatio? Oh, my Lord. The impossible falsetto of Philip Bailey. Now, look, I can't speak to the impossible fellatio of Philip Bailey. Belly? What? All right, we got to end this. Let's just fucking end this. What happened to me? My brain discombobulated, and shawarma got in there and fucked it all up. The impossible fucking... I almost said fellatio again. The impossible falsetto of Philip Bailey. How did I say it right earlier? How did I conjure that phrase out of my head and it was awesome? Did I even finish that thought? We got into Phil Lynott and riffs. So when they wanted, because Phil Collins just wanted to fill and fill. That's what it was. He wanted to get a second Phil on board. And then they said, we can't find any Phils. Phil is dead. What about a Philip? And he's like, great, I can do this. And then they brought in Philip Bailey. And Phil Collins realized he was in over his head. But he was thrilled because now Philip Bailey was there to do that hard lifting. And that was great. All of the big lifting was done by our friend Philip Bailey on that song. Although it's a jam. She's the kind of girl you dream of. Dream of taking home. Let it forget it. Oh, boy. All right, now you've left in droves. I can feel it in my bones. Okay. So there you go. Hire me for a cameo. It's Shawarma Cameo Week. Shawarma Cameo Week. And you tell me what you want me to do. And look, by the way, also please make a note. Just go, look, man, don't get a shawarma. If you want that too, that's also on the table. It doesn't need to be Shawarma Cameo Week. If you hire me for a cameo, you can expressly say, hey, man, get a shawarma and do this. But do not say, don't get a shawarma. Because it's not default. It's not default shawarma week. My point is I'm open to shawarma suggestion this week, but it's not default shawarma week. Like every cameo I get will result in a shawarma purchase. Because if somehow this week I get like 10 people who hire me for cameos, I don't know if I can put away 10 shawarmas. I mean, I can, not like Joey fucking Chestnut, but I mean, I can probably eat them over the course of 10 days. But even a man like me gets sick of a shawarma. I'm no Iron Man. I'm not made of iron. Patreon.com/Mike40YOB is out there. Oh, Cameo. So wait, book Cameo.com or put the Cameo up on your phone. Right next to DoorDash, so they can DoorDash me a shawarma. Patreon.com/Mike40YOB exists. It's out there. Lily and I are hatching a plot to put video up. And if that's something you're interested in, it'll be there. If you're already a Patreon person, that's fantastic. If you're not, go ahead and jump in. It would help me immeasurably since the end times are coming. And if you don't want a Patreon, if anybody a Patreon person, you just want to send me some dough, go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com. There's a PayPal button. It's a little horn boy up in the upper right-hand corner. It says donate. Doesn't say it like that, it just says donate. But I say it as donate. Click on that. Send me some PayPal. Send me some PayPal cash. Makes me happy. Cameo and Patreon. They're out there. PayPal. It's perfect. Hey, let's talk about this also. Did you know we got podcast people who are lovely and they promote us in some way or fashion? Our great friend, Fearful Jesuit, is out there. He's got the Paranoid Strain podcast, and he is crushing it weekly. He's in the midst of a 741 episode takedown of Q and the John Birch Society and Russia and the World Bank. By the time he's finished, these people will not have a $sign to stand on. He's going to fucking clean them out, baby. He's going to make them look stupid. People will stop sending the money. Well, here's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for him to delve into Scientology in a real way because I like to see my friend get killed. Aren't they murderers? Don't they do that shit? Stay away from them. Jesuit, if you're listening, stay away from the Scientologists because they lurk. Nobody wants to. You can't make fun of lurkers. Like these other idiots, Q and all that, they're outside yelling and screaming. They don't give a fuck. They get their finger in the air. Where we go, one, all of us go, whatever the fuck. And you're like, great. Good for you, losers and wingnuts. But Scientology, they skulk around in the dark, waiting to catch you off guards. And you know what? This is totally true. Scientology doesn't use a gun. And they used to sneak up behind people with ice picks, but even that became kind of their calling card. Everybody knew it was a Scientologist. You know what the Scientologist uses now as a weapon? The bolo. You don't see it very often. You know why? Because L. Ron Hubbard bought all the bolos and he destroyed bolo technology. All the plans for constructing further bolos were purchased by L. Ron Hubbard and burned in a fire. So no one knows how to make a bolo. But a bolo is like from those old movies. It's literally like a... You know what a click-clack is? It's got like two balls hanging and you that deal. And you know that toy that's on your desk, the click-clacker, where it's got four balls to go... Okay, a bolo is a combination of those two things. Take that office toy and put it on long strings or ropes or leather straps like the click-clack, and then people... They swing it around their head and they throw it at a guy and it goes around his ankles and they trip and they hit their head on a curb and they die. Now, normally it would just trap a guy. Like you could throw the bolo and it would maybe tie him up, whatever the fuck. But L. Ron Hubbard, in his infinite wisdom, and you may know this if you read Battlefield Earth, you're way ahead of me. He came up with the bolo that actually always is guaranteed to kill your opponent. It will trip them, it will tie their legs up, and they run, and then they fall, and they hit their head on cement, even get this, even if they're in a meadow, somehow if they're in an open field, if there's only grass and trees as far as the eye can see, they wind up crushing their skull on cement. He doesn't tell you how he does it. You know why? Because he's L. Ron Hubbard. And the L stands for let's not ask any questions. So by all means, don't go after them, fearful Jesuit, because if you hear or you know the bolo people are coming. You know the Scientologists are lurking in the shadows if you hear the bolo noises, because they want you to hear it. That's another thing. Scientologists want you to sweat. They don't want you to be like, tripping through the day. Do. This is great. Run some errands. Have a great time with my daughter. Gonna have a great time with my son, and possibly a date later where we eat pasta and I get to see a woman chew. No, they want you to do that, and then all of a sudden you hear, and then you're like terrified, and then they kill you because they feel. Now get this: it's easier for Xenu to harvest your soul if you're terrified when you die. If you go peacefully in your sleep, never once has a Scientologist gone peacefully in their sleep, peacefully, because then they're not going to Vishnu Town or whatever the fuck, or no, not Xenu Town. Their thetans will be spoiled if they die peacefully. You must maintain in a state of constant. Can't even say it. You must maintain a state of constant agitation as a Scientologist in order to be embraced by Xenu upon your deathbed. So that's why they keep you scared shitless all the time, and that's why when they kill their victims, they make sure they hear the bolo clicking and clacking. And that's how it goes. It warms up that way. It goes, and then they fucking throw it, and you're dead. You don't even know what happened. And you're on a cloud. You're standing on a cloud somehow, and you still hit your head on cement, and you die. And you wake up, and there's Xenu, and he does that fucking Xenu laugh that we all know and hate. Can't do it here. Copyrighted. Paranoid Strain Podcast is out there. It is waiting for you to listen to and love. Fearful Jesuit is out there doing the big work along with the Dana of Unicorns, the unicorn of Danas, the lovely and talented and brilliant and wonderful Dana Unicorn. She's out there with our great friend Fearful Jesuit. They are doing things that must be done, that you can't do, that I won't do. And so they're doing them. They're taking on all of these conspiracy theories and they're making them sound fucking fantastic and amazing and getting to the meat of the matter. And what I always love, too, is on their Paranoid Strain page on Facebook, which you can go ahead and join. People will post stuff that Jesuit talked about a year ago, and it's happening now. And they're just like, dude? He's like, yep. Because he's just that fucking guy, man. He's ahead of it. So go listen to the Paranoid Strain podcast, where he will delve deeply into conspiracy theories and tell you why you should or should not be afraid of them. But at the same time, even when he's telling you should be afraid of them, it's a little disconcerting because he's reveling in them. The man loves them. It's his life's work, his life blood. And honestly, I don't know about a guy who's loving something that petrifies so many people, but you know what? That's just the kind of fella he is. Fearful Jesuit runs the Paranoid Strain podcast. Dana Unicorn at his side. Go get it now wherever the best podcasts are featured. Podcasts, you say? Took a break there. I should drink some water while I take a break. Hold on. The sand up to my ankles now. My entire apartment is filled. You know the Phlegmcat podcast exists. What? Yes. Phlegmcat. Doodly 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 Phlegmcat. Phlegmcat doodly doodly PHLEGMCAT. Phlegmcat doodly doodly doodly. That's like Ragmop. Ragmop doodly doodly doodly. Ragmop doodly doodly doodly. RAGGMOPP. Ragmop doodly doodly doodly. PHLEGMCAT. Cat. Phlegmcat doodly doodly. David Mex Hernandez runs the Phlegmcat podcast. He's doing great things. He's singing about the Springer and the Moon and the Juna. He wants to sing about the Springer and the Moon and the Juna. He's a frog. Or no, is that a baby or a frog? No, the frog sings, hello, my baby. Hello, my ragtime girl. Baby, my heart's on fire. No. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. That's the singing frog. That's Michigan J Frog. But then there is also a baby who's like, I like to sing about the Springer and the Moon and the June. Is that a pig? I don't know what it is. But regardless, Mex is doing all the singing on his show. He doesn't rely on pigs and frogs. But I will say this, you can't rule out the appearance of a pig or a frog, and certainly not a singing pig or a frog. They could show up as well. You don't know what's going to happen. There used to be a show when I was a kid, and I don't know what the show is, but I only know this part of the theme song. Anything can happen. And it usually does. That's That was the end of the theme song. I can't tell you what show it was. I guarantee you Casey Murphy's going to know the name of that show, and he's going to write me and tell me what it was. Anything can happen, zoo, 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 and it usually does. Bounce, 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 down. That was the end of the song, and then the show would start. I have all of those weird, come on, we all have those weird snippets in our brain of shit when we were a kid, and you're like, I don't know why the fuck that's in there. I know at a marathon bar, it lasts a good long time. A cowboy, I'll tell you that. It's just foolishness. When you ever wonder about the strength of advertising, just know that I know probably 4 different McDonald's jingles from my life, all through my life, and Burger King too, all of them. Hold on, I just got something else popped up on my screen. Don't do this, I'm recording a show. So the Flemcat podcast is out there right now, ready for you to check it out and listen and love and learn. It's amazing stuff done by our fabulous friend, David Mex Hernandez. By the way, you can go to facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez and become his friend. And then also he sells artwork. You can check all his artwork out there on the page, and he can go ahead and do something for you. Work up a schematic, work up an oil, a water, work up something with pastels, possibly crayons. If you want him to work in Sharpie, he can do that. Whatever the fuck you need. If you got the green, he'll make the scene, and he'll go ahead and make whatever artwork you want. It'll hang in your foyer. And you'll stare at it every day and go, my God, it's majestic. But also, while you're looking at the artwork, don't you want to hear his voice? Don't you want to hear him doing amazing things and being funny and telling stories and singing songs? Well, of course you do. And that's why you need to check out the Flemcat podcast. And that's, by the way, that's 2 words. PHLEGMCAT. And I'm going to say you can just, if you Google Flemcat, or you go to iTunes and you look up Flemcat, I'm going to say you're not going to get any other hits. I feel confident in telling you there are no other podcasts that have Flem in the title. I'm sure I'm going to get an avalanche of correspondence showing me that I am incorrect, and that's fine. But then let's go this route. I'm going to tell you this. There's no other podcast that has the words Flem and Cat in the title. And I'm sure right now you're sitting down, dear sir, and you're going to type a letter and point out to me there's at least 5 other shows like that. And I will then say to you this. There is no other show out there that has Flem and Cat in the title that is worth your fucking time. How about that? The Flemcat podcast is, it's the only one when you want to hear Max be cool. I'm not even going to bother trying to hit the back wall like our friend Melissa. 'Cause I'm the only one. Dude, I remember I talked about Foo Fighters when I blew my voice out, and I'm like, you want to hurt? It's like you want to. I tried to break my windshield with my voice. I was being completely serious. Like I was like, I wonder if I could get that powerful a sound cooked up to break my mirror because it was loud in my car. And there's another passage that like could be like that. Is that the chorus of Melissa Etheridge's "I'm the Only One"? Is that the name of the song? Go on and hold into the feeling that I'm the only one who walks across the fire for you, and I'm the only one who wants that desire for you. But then when she's like, the healing that you're hiding from, when all the promises are gone, and then when she says, I'm the only one, dude, I can't imagine she didn't break every microphone within a 2-mile radius, or at least the glass in the control room booth. I mean, it's just with that, I'm the only one, that note is just so fucking, it's not a note like an opera singer. It's just this sheer crushing, sternum cracking volume, power behind that fucking delivery. Even the I'm the only one gets it too, but then that the chorus gets it with the walked in there my desire, but that I'm the only one, dude. And that's another one that I can't resist singing. Like if I'm in the car or something, it's like, it's just so fucking, because that's unbridled, man. There's no, you're not couching it. You're not like, oh, maybe no, she's just fucking letting it go. And in your brain, you're like, how could you ever sing another song after belting that fucking song? And then she did it night after night on tour, and you're like, my God, man. I mean, just incredible. So that's another song like that. I don't even know why it came up. Because you know why? Because Flemcat's the only podcast where it's the only one that's got David being songs for you. Being songs? I couldn't think of something. Our great friend David is on the Flemcat podcast. You can get it where the finest podcasts are adored and loved and worshipped and grabbed, and everybody thinks they're great, and you should check them out right now. What's that? Right now. When? Right fucking now, man. Although not right now because I'm talking. Did you know that I have channels? Or did you know I did Rock Solid with Ozzy? I did a couple weeks ago. What the fuck? Check that out. Why not? Also, I'm on, I have channels. I got youtube.com/the40year-old boy, youtube.com/the40year-old boy. You can check that out right now. It's got mainly the archives of the podcast, which I just met somebody this week, and they're like, send me your 3 favorite episodes ever of the podcast that I should hear. And I'm like, I've been doing this almost 13 full years. Narrowing it down to 3 is going to be tough. But now that's something. So if you got a suggestion, tell me. Because part of me wants to send, I think I got to send almost. And then also there's, I got to find something that's just fucking relentlessly funny and won't stop. And then maybe there's another one that kind of hits a nice balance of funny and I don't know, morose, poignant, whatever you want to call it. Who knows? But that's at youtube.com/the40year-old boy. You can check those out and listen, and you'll love them. Certainly, everybody will enjoy them. And then also, get this, I got this channel, Rockin' and Rollin'. Hey, man, you should keep rocking and rolling. That's our good friend Dirk Diggler accepting an award. Let's just keep rocking and rolling and make better movies. Twitch.tv/the40year-old boy. Hey, by the way, my friend Ahmad, I talked to him the other day. My friend Ahmad he's never seen Boogie Nights. I'm like, what the fuck, man? He's got to watch Boogie Nights. Twitch.tv/the40year-old boy exists. What's this? Well, it's a television network that I own. What? Yes, you're damn right. I'm streaming all the time. Pretty much every afternoon I'm on there doing stuff. Stuff like what, you ask? Well, I'm playing games. Right now I'm in the middle of a cowboy game, but October's coming up, which is going to be Spooktober. So I got 2 more days of cowboy action, and then eventually we're going to drift. Today's the 29th, tomorrow's the 30th. So starting next week, you're going to hear this now. If you tune in today, the 29th, which you're not gonna, or tomorrow, Friday the 30th, you'll see Cowboy Game. But then, starting on October 1st, we're going to pivot to scary games. And I might start with The Quarry. I'm looking around for monster games. We'll see. But if you join us at twitch.tv/the40year-old boy, you'll be able to tune in and check it out. And you'll see clips of me doing weird things. Also, there's a million clips from previous broadcasts, as well as live broadcasts for you to tune in and check out. It's super fun and great and amazing. And it makes me happy that you would even consider it. Twitch.tv/the40year-old boy. We got a great community of people over there. I have a Discord you can join if you want. But a fantastic community of people who come in and watch and hang out, and it's super cool. You can follow or subscribe. Following is great because it gets my numbers up and it lets Twitch go, okay, this guy's got some numbers, some decent numbers. But also the subscribing, that's when I get money. You can actually give me money, or you can subscribe through Amazon Prime, and then Jeff Bezos has to give me money. And isn't that great? Now you know what you're doing? It's like Bezos is a skinny kid in school and you're taking his fucking lunch money and you're giving it to me. You're just shoving Bezos in a fucking locker. Good for you. Twitch.tv/the40year-old boy. YouTube.com/the40year-old boy. The Paranoid Strain Podcast. The Phlegmcat Podcast. The Misfit Toys Co-op. Cameo. Shawarma Week. Patreon.com/Mike40YOB. PayPal at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. And I should do this. You guys can get me at Mike and MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40year-old boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40year-old boy. And you can find me at Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok at Mike40YOB. That's Mike40YOB for Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. All of those things are available there already. And by the way, if you donated to Lily's Burlesque deck and you wanted a Zoom call, we just did a great one with our great friend John. John scheduled one, and he was excited, and we talked for about an hour last Saturday, and it was really sweet. Fun, well, not sweet like aw, but sweet like, yeah, sweet. It was too sweet if you ask AJ Styles or Kenny Omega. But it was great. It was a great conversation with our friend John. And I think we're doing one with a guy named Matthew. I don't know when that's getting scheduled. KC, I think we're scheduling with KC. Whenever anybody wants to schedule one, reach out to Lily. And then she'll tell me, and then we'll do it, and we'll talk. And look, man, we can talk for 5 fucking minutes. We can talk for an hour. Whatever you want. Go ahead and schedule a Zoom call. Happy to do it. It was really fun. So looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to that as much as you're looking forward to me. Stop talking, get Lily involved, and she's about to. Like I said, there's 2 sections of audio. The first one is a short one. It's about 6 minutes, I think. I don't know, 7 minutes, I think. And there was some technical stuff, but I didn't want to uninclude it because I'm trying to be better about just letting, I don't want to let one thing derail me. But also, look, it's probably fucking terrible, and you're going to be like, what the fuck? But who cares? It's bonus me. That's all you care about. So there's 7 minutes of that. And then I'm going to run a few commercials. Because again, look, Misfit Toys got to pay the bills. So when I'm done here, there's going to be an ad probably, and then when that 7-minute one, when we take the break there's going to be another ad, and then there'll be the end of the show. So I'm warning you. I'm the only guy in the fucking world who's like, hey man, I'm sorry, there's ads coming up, and you probably hate me for it, and I'm sorry. But look, as I've mentioned before, I need $15. So if these ads accomplish that, they will. So cool. All right, you guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. All those other places you can find me. Remember to go ahead and listen to The Paranoid Strain and Phlegmcat, all of those things. And please, please, please enjoy this appearance of Lily Von Stupp on yet another 40-Year-Old Boy podcast.
Hi, it's me, very famous comedian and writer Michael Ian Black. I have a podcast so popular, it is named Obscure. In it, I read works of classic literature out loud and interrupt myself throughout to provide smart and funny commentary as I go. It's like pop-up video for books, which is a reference for really old people. I just finished Mary Shelley's Frankenstein for season 2 of Obscure, so if you're looking for a new audiobook, why not let me read it to you? You guys like murder podcasts? Well, this is a murder podcast. There's also celebrity gossip.
Somebody asked me, is your beef with Mark Maron real? The second is he really an asshole? And the answer is yes. And the first half is yes.
And really good accent work.
I'll read what I want, Mr. Carter.
Join me for a book club like no other. It's Obscure with me, Michael Ian Black. Listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, or wherever you listen.
Recording in progress. Let's do it.
I want that job. I want the recording in progress job. We touched on this. I don't think we really dealt with it. Like, I don't understand. You like your TikTok, but I don't understand why when you go there, it uses that one default voice that has no idea how to phrase a sentence. Here is someone dying by an axe. You know what I mean? It's like the same cadence no matter what it is. Oh, look at that puppy. Oh my gosh, her arm got caught in the thresher. You know what I mean? It's just always, there's no, and again, it's a robot. I guess half the appeal is that it has no fucking human emotion. But no matter what it's conveying to you, it's like, wow, what a pretty balloon. Oh my gosh, did you hear about the Holocaust? You know what I mean? They're just, it's so fucking weird. Like, it's the same voice. I don't know. Teach a robot to fucking have some inflection and be sad about the Holocaust. Listen to me. Why can't robots be sad about the Holocaust? If there's one thing robots should be sad about, clearly, it should be the Holocaust. If you can train them to at least be sad about up a dozen eggs and be like, whatever, I can clean that up later. I'm a robot. But if you go 2 million or 6 million Jews were killed in prison camps all across the fucking European landscape, robots should go, aw. Like, you should be totally sad. It's ridiculous. All right. I don't understand it. Hi. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy podcast. It's me and my friend Lily. Hi, Lily.
Hi.
How you doing over there? You had a background and you no longer have a background. Why'd you do? Why'd you take it off?
Well, because I was checking the speeds, and so I'm like, I'm going to take everything off that is not needed necessarily. So that's one of the things I got rid of on my end when we were doing the little test to see, because we got a little bit of a delay today, and I was concerned about that.
Your voice was doing, it sounded like it was through a flange. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, this will be very specific. If even one person knows what I'm talking about, I'm lucky. But there's a movie called Creepshow. And it's in segments. There's scary segments, right? And in the third segment, there's an actor named E.G. Marshall, who's a famous actor and voiceover guy. And he plays a germ freak who lives in a rooftop penthouse. Mm-hmm. And he hates bugs. He hates all terrible germs.
All right.
Hates them all.
I'm going to stop you. I have to stop you for a moment. I have to stop you, and then I'll let you keep telling the story. Turn your video off. You'll still be able to see me, but turn your video off, because I got a little bit of a delay, and that's the last thing I can do to make sure that your speed is moving okay. And you can leave all this in. Do you know how to turn your video off? Just click your stop video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this again, we're pushing words through a pipe, and if we get rid of the video, I think we're going to have no problems with your words. And I don't want your words to drop out because you're hilarious. So tell me again about Creepshow, because I loved this movie. This is one of my favorite movies as far as horror goes.
Well, now we have to address this. The video nonsense is because last week you had a wonderful idea and you were like, hey, what if you put the video up on Patreon for people? And I said, well, we'll put it to a vote. And everybody who voted, believe it or not, would really like the video on Patreon. So I was going to advance to you this week that not this week, because we haven't talked about it yet, but next week we would debut the Patreon, the Patreon, whatever we do on Zoom will go on Patreon for people. And now you're like, turn your video off, ugly. You couldn't possibly be seen by human eyes.
Okay, this is hilarious. Turn your video back on. And here's why.
No,
it didn't make a goddamn fucking difference. So I don't know what the problem is. Other than you're on Spectrum, I'm on Frontier, and they do not want to play.
All right, so what is this doing to the listener right now?
They're laughing hysterically because we're having a technical audio, and they are waiting for you to explode because something went wrong.
Well, another thing, people were very kind, like Jeremy, who is a good guy, and a bunch of other people who wrote me and said, hey, man, that microphone thing didn't bother us. Like, whatever happened that you were mad about. Right, but if it happens every week, then it becomes a crutch where we have to go, oh, it's the time when Mike's mad at the microphone. We don't fucking want that. But my point is this taking away from the person's audio experience? Like right now, you said there's a delay.
Well, no, what happened was you went and then you started talking again because you got that little echoey thing that I think you're going to talk to me about Creepshow.
Yeah, in that film, in the final segment, E.G. Marshall gets a visit at his rooftop penthouse from a guy who's the I guess the building superintendent, I suppose, and they talk through a speaker, but the speaker has an effect on it. So it's like, if you've ever, I'll tell you this is another thing. You ever have those like, it's not a pool noodle, but it's a plastic thing. And when you spin it over your head, it goes, it makes a noise.
It's a wobbler. Yeah.
And if you talk through it, you spin it, it sounds really funky. Well, in Creepshow, there's a part where he goes, do it now. And it's like, and it's weird. Yeah. There's a strange effect on his voice. And you had that on your microphone when you were talking. And it's like, your voice was doing that. And now you're telling me that I have a delay. And
it's not a delay. It's a glitch in the system where all of a sudden the words go bloop, and then they catch back up because
a ghost in the machine. A ghost in the machine.
You do. You have a ghost in the machine, and you know what? It's just going to happen. It's going to happen sometimes because technology is not perfect.
I quit. I quit. I'm done. I couldn't possibly. I don't. Do I have to just go individually to people's fucking houses and make them laugh from now on? What the fuck do I have to do to make this medium work again for me? I don't fucking understand it.
We could record it live in my backyard.
I mean, yeah, it's a great idea until the fucking marmoset leaps into your fucking face, and then we got to scramble. Got to take him off and beat him to death with a shovel. Which, by the way, that's good content. Clearly, hey, did you see Mike beat that marmoset to death with a shovel? See that. You know why? Because there was a fucking delay.
And what is hilarious is as you did that, it happened again.
Of course.
You scream fucking delay. It's hilarious. Here's the thing. We just have to deal with the life of it.
Let's just stop.
No, absolutely not.
I'll do the show here by myself and stuff, and that's fine. I can't give out inferior garbage product. I can't. If my voice is all fucked up and people are hearing it and my voice even drops. And again, look, this is a show about verbiage and language and humor and timing. And if I'm dropping out on punchlines and there's shit that's not happening, you can't do that, Lily. You can't.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what's causing it today. It could be.
Did it do it again during that rant?
It just did. Yes. Which made me laugh hysterically, but you are going to be furious with.
Yeah. So I'm out. So I'll tell you what, I love you. You're nice to be here.
Let me restart it and see if the connection is better when we restart. Let's do that. I'm going to just in a minute join back to the same room. Okay.
All right. But save this audio because this is going in the show either way as an explainer or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, of course.
And we must preserve my brilliance at all times. So please save whatever you've recorded.
Let me reconnect and see if we can solve this problem. All right, let's try this again. Let's just try it again. I think we may have just had a shit connection on that last one.
All right, but you have to tell me.
I will tell you if it starts to drop again. Well, you just dropped completely. Hello? I just lost Mike completely. Mike, please come back. Please come back. I'm texting him. Oh, please come back to the Zoom. I am now texting him. Please come back to the Zoom. He dropped out of the Zoom completely. I think we are having some problems with connectivity on his end. So let's see what happens. Wouldn't it be funny if you just put this out, just this silence? Do, 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 do. I am still recording. That is very funny that you just fell out of the room. Well, it's not funny, but it's funny. You there? I think Mike Schmidt is having connectivity problems. What happened?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I did not storm out of the room.
No, I figure you got dropped off somehow.
Well, all right, because when you record, it gives you a note, and it's like the guy is the host is recording the meeting, and it gives you two choices. It says leave meeting and got it, and so usually you just click got it. You're like whatever. So I don't know what I just wasn't thinking, and it was just said, it was like, is that okay with you? And I just hit leave meeting, and that's when I disappeared because I was in the middle of a sentence. I wouldn't leave in the middle of a sentence. Why would I deprive people of what I was saying? Because it was probably something great.
That was hilarious. Okay, so we're still recording, and I just hummed a few bars while I texted you. So I'm glad you're back.
Let me ask you this. How the fuck have we done this for 7 weeks and done it fine? Everything's fine. And this is the week that everything is a house of cards. Like, I don't fucking get it.
Well, the world is falling apart out there, and I think it just finally reached us.
But this is the only thing that should make sense. Even if the world is falling apart, we should be the Christian Slaters and pumping up the volume and just sitting here in a closet somewhere and everybody hears us pirate radio style. Like that's the plan. Did you see the new kids? Did you see the new Kids in the Hall on Amazon?
I did. Yes.
That sketch with Dave Foley running the fucking apocalyptic radio station. Jesus Christ, dude. It was fantastic.
It was
fantastic.
Beautiful.
And so I'm like, that's my future. I envision that. Now, I don't know if I'll be all gussied up like a lady, but I'll certainly be broadcasting to people about stuff and woven children and fights and things. I'd happily do that with the one song. Ding, ding, a ding, ding. I got a brand new pair of roller skates. I loved it.
I loved it too.
So I don't understand why everything has worked for weeks. And again, except for you dropping out audio wise. And I've been fine because I'm really good at this. But now this is the week where everything is just kind of fucking gone kind of Scotsy, and I don't care for that, quite frankly.
Well, here's what I will tell you. We have been reconnected now for just a couple minutes and have not had one problem at all. So I think going out and restarting everything fixed it all.
Look at this. Just
leaving the room and coming back. Sometimes you just got to go take that 5-second walk around the block, air, and let it all. I don't know.
Okay, sure.
But there are no problems now. I still have that 7 minutes if you want them. I have the opening of this where I'm by myself after you stormed out.
Don't recall that happening.
But we're here and it's good and it sounds great and you're not dropping it all right now and I'm not dropping it all and the world is a happy place other than people dying in Iran and a hurricane and I still don't have the right to bodily autonomy. But other than that, things are great.
Listen, Matt, I don't know what you're seeing about Iran, but I haven't seen anybody die in Iran. What are you talking about?
You don't know what's going on over there?
I heard, but then I heard everything was fine.
It's Iran, actually. I was corrected when someone told me if I pronounced it Iran, I should shut the fuck up.
No, stop your nonsense. I don't know. But I mean, again, I know it started out weird and with a lot of involuntary haircuts and such. But then the government assures me that everything's okay over there. And they've turned off the Instagram and the internet to make sure that I realize that everything's okay. And I believe them. Let me ask you this. I've been on this planet 5.5 decades.
Uh-huh.
When has the government of Iran ever lied to me?
I should not be laughing at that.
So I'm looking, why would I sell them out? I mean, they've done right by me up to this point. You know what I mean? Whether it be the Shah, whether it be the Ayatollah, whether it be the other Ayatollah, whether it be this new gentleman who perhaps might also be an Ayatollah, which I'm starting to think is a title rather than a guy. Like when I was a kid, it was like, holy fuck, the Ayatollah. It's like, that guy's mean. I thought it was like Rick. You know what I mean? I thought maybe in Iran it was like a name. Hey, man, what's up, Ayatollah? Like it was his name. But then they had another Ayatollah. I'm like, well, look, they can't keep electing guys named Ayatollah. This seems fucking weird. It almost seems like there's some sort of conspiracy in place to just elect Ayatollahs over here. And then the third guy comes along. He's another Ayatollah. I'm like, what are the fucking odds, man? And then I think to myself, it's like The Distinguished Gentleman when Eddie Murphy ran for Congress under the name of a dead guy and then got elected. Nobody went, we voted for a black guy? What the fuck? So that's it. If you're named Ayatollahs over there. So let me ask you this, if you're an Iranian family, how are you not naming your kid Ayatollah the second he pops out? Because you're like, yeah, no, that's the guy. Clearly, he is destined for greatness. This is the guy who will hold office in the future. I just thought it was a common name. And again, as I've mentioned, all of these Ayatollahs in succession, and before them, the Shah, who fled. I will say this, by the way. Iran came on my radar screen with the Shah. Okay. Yeah. The Shah had cancer. He needed treatment. He came to America, but it turned out maybe he also wanted to escape a lot of guys with daggers. You know what I mean? It was something like that.
Possible.
So somehow there was a bunch of guys who wore very different clothing from the Shah, because the Shah was dressed like Matt Helm. I don't know if you ever saw the Shah. He's like, everything I see him, he's in a white tuxedo with a pocket square. He looks great. He's got a beautiful wife. She's fucking amazingly gorgeous, dripping in jewels. And granted, I don't know, maybe it was from the blood of the children. I don't fucking know. All I know is the Shah. And then Iran, you ever watch Godfather 2? And you're like, God, Cuba looked fun. Cuba was awesome. Why the fuck did we do this to Cuba? It looks like they were having a good time. And then all of a sudden there's like a guy with a bomb and a guy with a beard. And that's it. You know what? That's it. Bomb and a beard. Changes your country. Bomb and a beard changes your fucking country. It happened in Iran too. Shah didn't have a beard. Shah was clean shaven, looking good, hot wife. Again, walking in like a secret agent, looking fucking good. And then all of a sudden, bomb and a beard shows up. Adios. And now people are in prisons and the internet's off. The internet wasn't even invented when the Shah was around, and they still turned it off, those fuckheads. They got ahead of it. They were way ahead of it. They're like, hey, anybody invent that internet yet? Turn it off. So I've seen, again, so you keep saying that there's some sort of disturbance.
There's some issues.
That's what that was the story in the beginning, but I've heard they've hashed it out.
Yeah, I think they've done something, but hashed is not the word. Yeah.
All right. Well, regardless, as I've mentioned, I don't think the government of Iran is invested in fooling us or telling us fibs. So I'm going to until Instagram is back up. I'm going to trust in them and everything that they've got going on. I look, and maybe it's just me. If you've got 1,000 guys in pith helmets with batons, your opinion's going to hold sway with me. I'm going to listen to you. In the beginning, I certainly hope it's not the case, because again, there's 4 students with rocks jumping on the fucking trunk of a car, and then all of a sudden a fucking battalion is dispatched. Dude, what the fuck, man? It's always that. It's always like these students in the Persian Spring are having an uprising and it's beautiful. And oh my gosh, we can see these ladies' heads. Oh my God, what's that coming over the horizon? Turn the internet off. What the fuck? This world is awful, man.
And you know, when you compare that to January 6th, where those idiots went in with spears and all of this attitude and live streamed the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
I'm like the brazen ignorance of America.
But then they were allowed to walk out. Just like, hey guys, we're closing. Hey guys, we got to shut it down here. We got to put the velvet ropes away and we'd close the windows if you hadn't smashed them all. But everyone needs to get out of here right now. We've got to tidy up for tomorrow's session of Congress. Dude, I don't understand any of it. I saw a picture of Trump in a golf cart drinking out of a bottle of water, like with a straw. And I'm like, that's your guy? That's your guy. That's like going, you know who's going to fucking, you know what? I will lay down my life and I will fucking die in battle for HR Puffin stuff. That's what I will do.
Oh God.
I mean, it's just some big swollen fuckhead.
I can't unsee that.
Man, I'm being serious. Like, that's your fucking dude. That's your guy. That's your fake foe. Look, this has been something I've harped on forever and I've talked about. I know. I just don't look. Whether people have fallen under his spell and they feel that they're scared of the past going away and being replaced. I understand the motivations. I don't understand the leader. I don't understand how he was given the sword and told to go across to Valley Forge when all he would do is want to stop for sandwiches and ask where the sunscreen was. I mean, he would have he's a fop. He's a galoot. Why the fuck are you walking behind this human pillowcase? Why is he invested everything in that fucking guy? And the January 6th guys are all like, yeah, fuck, we're gonna fucking take that dude. Because again, they always find a martyr. That Ashley Babbitt chick.
Oh God.
Ashley Babbitt comes in now. Look, films herself because again, this is like you just said. They're all fuckheads. They all film themselves, but like, yeah, a storm is coming. Here we go. I saddle up the truck. I've got 4 sandwiches in here. I got as many bullets as I got sandwiches, and they all got your name on them. You're either gonna get hit with a fucking hollow point or an egg salad. Step in the way of my fucking truck. They're all pissed, right? So then they film it all, and then they post it for days. The storm is coming, and when we go one, we go all finger in the air. Let's do this. And then Ashley Babbitt shows up, and I don't think I'm out of line when I say that she is ravenously angry. Like, she is standing on a chair, like clutching and grabbing as if she's trying to escape a serial killer's well. You know what I mean? She's like, when fucking Catherine Martin sees the fingernail in the well of Jamie, that's what I thought of with Ashley Babbitt, because she's literally clawing at wood, like trying to get at Congress, like trying to get at these guys. She's so fucking brainwashed. And then the window smashes, and she's like, and then another thing, storm is coming, and then just fucking takes one right in the grill. Pow! And goes down, and this always happens. This always fucking happens. She gets shot, and she goes down, and they're like, there was no call for that. How dare you? She was a patriot, and you killed her. It's like, no, dude. She's tunneling into your fucking house like that movie with the guy who lived in the walls and was spying on people. What the fuck is that? Martin, whatever the fuck that movie was.
Oh, that was freaky.
Yeah, right. And he lived in the walls, and he'd go around and see everybody. Yes. You know what I mean? But that's what she's doing. She's clearly drooling. This person is drooling. She's so angry. And look, I guarantee you, go out of your house. One of you fucking gun-toting hillbillies with your fucking cast iron skillet hanging off your belt and your fucking coonskin hat, walk out to your dumpster. You see anything out there drooling, you're shooting it. You're fucking shooting it. So you can't blame this Congress dude for just whatever the fuck he was, a guard, a cop, whoever he was. I don't care if he's a fucking passerby. You see that chick fucking Nicholson her way through the bathroom door like Shelley Duvall, you shoot her in the fucking face. You just fucking end it. But then they go, the thing is, they'll do this. They do this all the fucking time. You pussies, you fucking pussies, you pussies, you fucking pussies, you fucking pussies, you pussies, you guys are pussies. You are fucking pussies. Fuck your feelings, pussies. You're such pussies. You're so many fucking pussies. I can't believe you pussies. And then you go, hey man, probably shouldn't call me a pussy. I can't believe you said that. What are you talking? You just called me a pussy 100 times, you fuck. Oh my God, you used the F word. What are you talking about? I just knocked my camera off my computer. Fuck, dude. That's the thing. Like I said, I can't, because I'll get explosively mad about it. And I don't want to, because I don't understand how it got so stupid. That's what I don't fucking understand. How is it all so stupid? How do they get to go, hey man, we want abortion. Let's totally get abortion. It's going to be fucking awesome. No more babies in your stomach. No more hangers pulling babies out of your stomach. No more abortions. You got to carry the babies, and then they're going to grow up to be in the army. It's going to be great. Or they're going to work serving sandwiches because we're rich and you're not. So have these fucking babies. We say it. And then they're like, for fucking 40 years, no more fucking 50 years, no more abortions. You're not gonna have it. Everybody has to have a baby. Everybody has a baby. Ha, we're gonna do it. And then all right, Supreme Court says, all right, you know what? You're right, man. No more abortions. And then they go, well, we didn't mean it.
Oh, I
because now all of the guys running are like, yeah, no, you misunderstood us. It's like, no, fuck you. Because again, you held that carrot on that fucking stick for 50 fucking years, and finally, the mule grabbed it, and then you went, oh no, you're not supposed to eat the fucking carrot.
You know why they're pissed? You know why they're backing away from this?
Well, because 60% of the country doesn't agree with them for real.
They can't raise money on it anymore.
Yes.
They can't go out there and say, we're going to save your rights, and and they can't. They are so fucked and scared right now because the money has shut off, and even the rich people who wanted it now have it, and they're just like, I have to spend any more money on this.
That's exactly it.
It is a nightmare for the Republican Party right now because they have no one to hate but themselves. And when you asked why do they follow him, it's because in my opinion, there are two kinds of people to follow. Someone that you idolize because you want to be them, or someone who can fuck people over who you relate to. Because you either are aspiring to be something great or you are seeking vengeance. And Trump is vengeance. He is not a leader.
He's just, but again, vengeance is tough and scary. He's just a fucking goof That's the thing I don't understand. Like, look, if they found a Mussolini, if they found an Il Duce with the military uniform and the fucking backwards wave and the fucking face, I'd be almost like, I get the appeal of a strong man. I don't like it, but I mean, I understand if you want to rally behind one. But instead, this fucking nickel and dime fucking hotel salesman, that's your fucking guy?
Everybody thinks he pulled himself up by his bootstraps and got rich and he's the American dream and he looks just like me. And they have bought that stupid fucking story. And it drives me crazy.
But I don't think anybody really believes it. Everybody, like, they might ignore it. They might have heard it and
the rich people ignored it. It's the poor people who can see themselves as, I want to be gold gilded toilet rich someday, and if he can do it, he looks like me and I can do it. And it is the biggest grift in the game. It is so gross.
They've done it for centuries. I read, because unfortunately I went, and by the way, getting to just on your abortion point, yes, they can't raise money because people will fund your cause. They will not reward your result.
Nope, not at all.
So now they pay you as if you're in the chase. But when the race is over, they're not going to come and go, here's more money for your fucking car. No, the chase is over, man. Put the cars away. We won. And nobody will give you money for winning. That's what they think.
And it's funny because they accuse the Democratic Party of raising money on the back of Black Lives Matter and all of that. We were actually fighting for rights. They are fighting against rights and power in a way that is so fucking dehumanizing. It's not funny. Again, I don't mean to get political, and I'm sorry to throw you into all of this. The world just sucks right now. Did anything good happen?
But like I said, I could vent about this for 2 hours, but I don't have. The thing is, it's not interesting because there's no result. If there was, your story should have an ending, whether a good or a bad. Now, first of all, the story's in progress. So there's no ending, but also the ending that I see is not going to be a good one, and it doesn't make me want to talk about how great it's. I'm like, I've talked about it on here many times. To see the death of a lifestyle, or a system of government. I don't know. I forgot the fucking phrase even. To see it happen in real time is kind of astonishing, because we've just always been told, oh, well, you just always thought, well, is America melting pot? We'll do this, whatever. And people sometimes just squabbles and bullshit and stuff. But then, like I said, if you really look at it and you peel the onion on it, you're like, well, it's a terrible place. Kind of always has been. It's been, people have been subjugated and done all this, but you've been distracted with breads and circuses. And I mean, you can say all of those things, but also, like I said, there's no there. I gotta Gertrude Stein this, because I don't have any solutions. And people out there, if you know this is happening, like when we say, why do they support him? They support him because, like you said, everybody thinks they're going to be rich someday. Yeah. And so that's why they always be like, oh my God, they're coming for us. They're going to come for you too. And so so the reading I did was all the way back to fucking slavery. And when slavery ended, they were like, we're fucked.
Yeah.
We got to figure out what to do here. So what they did then is they invented sharecropping, and they convinced these white people to work their land for a small parcel of that land, because now the black people are out there to take your jobs, and they're going to fucking put you guys on the scrap heap, and you're going to get forgotten about. And so join us. We're like you. We're white just like you. So let's join us and let these new free black people try to figure it out while you work our land, and we'll give you a little parcel of land. And so the white people were more than happy to indentured servitude themselves for a shack, because it meant that black guys didn't get another chance. And you're reading it and you're just like, wow, God, nothing's changed. Like, nothing's changed at all. It's fucking crazy.
And then the Pinkertons became the police, and they stopped chasing slaves, and they started instead arresting black people for breaking laws that they created in order to put them in prisons to exploit them legally. This country is built on the blood of everyone, and it is horrid. How was your weekend?
I had a pretty good sandwich yesterday. That was really good.
Good. I'm glad. From where?
This country invented the hot dog. So I will look, balance there. Yes. Built on the back of blacks and slaves and the blood of the poor.
Yep.
Versus hot dogs. And again, I like a good hot dog. I don't want people to be exploited. I certainly don't want the poor to have to go ahead and fritter their life away and join a military that's just fighting endless wars. But at the same time, hot dog.
Hot dog.
Hot dogs are delicious.
I agree.
Love them. Big fan. So again, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Clearly, it's an even trade. So I have to, it's a hard decision. You have to sit down and be like, fuck, absolutely, this country's been involved in all sorts of monkey shines that it shouldn't have been involved in at all. And yet, the bacon wrap hot dog. Although that's more of a, that's more of a Sonoran conceit, I should say. That was them. That's these strangers, where would we be without immigrants? Because we would be eating plain hot dogs in a white bun. But then the immigrants came along and said, you know what we do? We wrap bacon on it because we're fucking Sonoran or whatever the fuck. And everybody's like, aye, perfect. I love this. Let's put a little pico on there, a little pico de gallo. Let's get a bunch of fucking, let's get a bunch of carts and take over this town and just sell death dogs after every event. Where would we be without the death dog? We'd be finished. And it's because of an immigrant. They took it to that next level.
Was your hot dog a death dog?
I did not get a death dog this week, no. But I do love a hot dog. You know what? I don't, there's no good hot dog around me. Cash rules everything around me, certainly, but there's no good hot dog around me. There's a place called Dog House.
Yes.
With a U, because they are very, very hip. Now, if you're going to call yourself Dog House of Dog, you should go ahead and have, I think, a better selection of dog. Because they have, they got your regulars, then they got your death dog, then they got like the Pico favorite, or all the same shit, and you're just like, eh. And then also they're supposed to charbroil them, or they cook them. They don't cook them right. I'm not a fan of the Doghouse, is what I will say.
I'm not either.
You know why too? For some reason they have, it's supposed to be fancy because it's like an upper scale fast food joint. Your voice gone completely.
I said, who wants a fancy hot dog?
There you go. Well, like I just said, I do enjoy a fancy hot dog. I got no issue with a fancy hot dog. I went out last night. Oh my goodness. I had a buddy in town. Well, first of all, I went out last night to a comedy show, which is like, what? But yes, because I think I may have mentioned weeks ago that I wanted to see a guy named Chris Fleming. I just discovered him via the pandemic. He was just a different kind of cat. I didn't know what he was or where he was from, but he was selling out theaters, even though he was not on TV as far as I knew. Like, I knew nothing about this guy, but I started to watch his stuff. And the thing I liked about him, and this is going to sound such onanism here on the podcast, I saw a lot of what I do in what he does, because he is very extemporaneous, and he has a Pardo vibe too, where it's just like, you don't know what he's going to say next, kind of. And he was very quick on stage, and I dug it. But also he was tremendously silly, and I liked that. He was just odd. And he dresses like Mark Bolan, you know what I mean? Where he just looks like he walked out of T-Rex or something. He's got kind of a shaggy hair, and he wears these funky clothes and like boots. But it's like hipster style fashion, I suppose, but then he'll make fun of it for 10 minutes, knowing fully well that he like last night he came out wearing what looked like a twister mat for a shirt, or no, and then the pants looked like someone had hung a yellow blanket and thrown tomatoes at it. Like, it was just, and it didn't match, I don't think, whatever the fuck, but he just came out, and he knew, and he just goes, how do you like my new pajamas? And everybody, of course, they cheered uproariously, because he's at that level where whatever he does, they're going with him, which I found, I enjoyed it online, because all these people would retweet him from Instagram, and he's doing silly riffs about Pomeranians, and people are like, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. But like I said, they trust him, so they'll go with him wherever. And I wanted to see it live. And I think I mentioned on here, he was here, and I didn't get the tickets at Dynasty Typewriter. And then he did a benefit show with fucking Lorraine Newman's kid, the one from Hacks. I don't remember her name.
Yes. Which I was shocked when I found out that was Lorraine Newman's kid. And I was like, no wonder. Crazy? Yes. Oh God, I love funny people.
So she had a benefit, but then those tickets were $130.
Oof.
I was like, well, I can't pull that off. And then just last week, the Elysian Theater, I follow them on Instagram, and they announced, they were like, hey, Chris Fleming here one night only next week. And I was like, fuck. So I zoomed quick, and I got one ticket for myself. because I know nobody I know is going to want to go see him. I would have asked you, but I know you can't go in public and you don't want to, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see him with somebody though, to be able to go to just go see. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I went. So I got my own ticket, and then it sold out. He sold out again at the Elysian, and I was like, he sells out big theaters in the East. So I was there last night. He came out, and he's just funny. See, that's the thing, is it's like I just want to see funny. You know what I mean? I don't need a message. Like never mind. I can't go into this. But I wanted to see, because I saw. I'll just say this. All right, I'll say this. I was watching Netflix last week. Or I was streaming movies. I was looking for something to watch. Did you see the movie Cyrano?
Yes, I did.
With Peter Dinklage?
Yes.
Okay, and then Haley Bennett, and I had heard it was good.
Yes.
And so I was on my list, and I was like, you know what, I'll watch that. I haven't seen a musical. I said I'll give it a shot, and I watched it on like Saturday night, and then I was gonna tweet about it, and then I forgot. I couldn't until Sunday because I cried so much I turned into dust, so I couldn't operate my telephone. Cyrano was incredible, and I don't know how Dinklage didn't win or get nominated, because he's so amazingly good in it. I can see by your face you disagree with my how I feel about Cyrano.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree that it was extremely good. But I did not enjoy it.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's funny.
And that's, yeah.
Pardo did that one time. Like, he saw Oh Brother, We're Out There at the theater. Mm-hmm. And I go, hey, how was it? He goes, you know what? It's really funny the whole way through, and I can't say I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I liked it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I saw it and I fucking love it. But yeah,
it was beautiful and hard to watch, and all of the things that make me go, that is the reason that people want to become artists, is to tell stories like this, but it is so sad.
All right, well let's talk about that for a second. Let's unpack it, because I know the legend of Cyrano via the zeitgeist and via things we've
Roxanne.
Seen. Yeah. Well, all right, I was about to get to that. But the main calling card I have for Cyrano is Roxanne. So, but I knew of the story itself. Okay, so I know about the balcony scene is always famous, and he's falling in love with her. You know, he loves her, and he's whatever. We get it.
Yes.
And then in Roxanne, you see it, and it's done. That's my main touchstone for Roxanne, for Cyrano.
Yeah.
And it's lighthearted and breezy and fun. And Steve Martin is, though pained, not destroyed.
Yes.
Like he maintains a stiff upper lip. There's a comedic crew around him. Bill Irwin is in it, and it all plays funny, even though there is pathos, and then everything works out for everybody, and it's like, yay, that's great. In Roxanne,
yes, it's done as a comedic tragedy. It is done lighthearted and fun to make us feel better about the fact that the world is a terrible place.
But then all right, I'm not in Roxanne. Like I said, there's a happy ending.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is my touchstone with Cyrano.
Yes.
I don't know. I know all of the things. I know the balcony scene. I know he's writing the letters, and the one guy, the good-looking guy, is giving them to the hot girl, and he loves her really. It's like a poly relationship, but the one dude is not involved. He's in it, but he's not in it. He's got everything at stake except his dick. I mean, like, his heart is fully in it, but he's getting nothing. So then I watched this one with Dinklage, and it's, first of all, Dinklage again should win everything ever.
Yes.
He's
incredible.
Phenomenal. And it's funny because I almost went, you know who's in it? Space Pants. Because you ever seen Space Pants? When we're done, you're watching it. I may even make you watch it with me. It was a sketch on Saturday Night Live, and it's the stupidest thing. They go for a business meeting to a fucking restaurant, and they're like, "Hey man," and they're talking, and then Dinklage comes out in like a fucking silver suit, and he goes,
"Yes,
Space Pants," and he does this song, and it's like,
yes,
he commits to it like fully. It is so fucking great. Space Pants is so great. So
I do now. I didn't.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying he's one of those dudes who fucking commits. Now, and I've never seen Game of Thrones. I heard he's fucking astonishing in it.
Well, you need to start watching that immediately from episode 1 right now.
He's won 2 Emmys and all that. But for Cyrano, he should have been nominated for an Oscar. He absolutely should have been. So the movie's unfolding and it's all the same beats. I love her, but oh wait, I can't tell her. Dude, that scene in the bakery when she asks to have a meeting right in the beginning of the movie, she's like, I have to talk to you, and she goes, I'm in love, and I can't tell. I haven't told him yet, and he's all the hope on his face, and then when she says the guy's name, and you see his soul just fly out the window, but he's still smiling, like you can totally. It's all eyes, and you can see he's broken, and then then she says like, promise me he'll write me, or promise me you'll protect him, and he goes, I can refuse you nothing. And you're just like, oh, I have goosebumps now because it's so devastatingly sad. And then as the movie progresses, still sad. And then as the movie continues to progress, I'm like, well, all right, I'm waiting for the speech in the restaurant and when everybody enjoys Cyrano's company. And then when the girl finally realizes, oh yeah, Cyrano's the guy, this is gonna be fucking awesome. And let's just say that the writers of Roxanne took some liberties with the story of Cyrano. And it is crushing. Like it was not, because I'm in a weird spot in my life now anyway. Again, I'm 55 and I'm completely willing to admit that where I am in life and what I've done and my choices now reflects in the way I enjoy entertainment and art. Yes. So I will see certain movies and I can see myself in movies, or I can see a situation and I have enormous empathy for characters who maybe may not be empathetic. Or I just find myself admiring the beauty of performances so much that I'll cry or I'll choke up because someone is so good. And the desire is within me to have been a successful artist, and realizing that I missed it will overwhelm me in a way where I will see people accomplishing the thing that you wish you were doing. And it brings home all of the mistakes you made and you're willing to fall apart watching it.
I want to argue with you here.
Okay.
Because as you sit here today, doing what it is that you do, you are a successful artist. It may not be monetarily or at the level you want, but doing what you love and having the freedom to do that is a successful artist in my book.
You're correct. I won't argue with you, and you're right. It's my flaw. Because I also don't want to tell the people who've invested in me that I am an unsuccessful artist, because they'll be like, what the fuck are we listening to you for then?
Yeah, you're not. You wanted a different level.
Well, I wanted more and more and more and more, and I never worked for it, and I understand that, and I inevitably get the, hey man, Rodney Dangerfield wasn't famous until he was 42, and I'm like, well, that was 13 years ago. Good luck. Hey man, Lewis Black, it took him a while, and I'm like, yep, I'm 10 years older than Lewis Black is when he hit, so I don't want to hear about oh, you know what? It's still on the horizon. Could it be? Who knows? Because here's another thing. That bouncer gig, no dice, fell through. It turned into exactly the chaotic environment that I did not want.
Good.
Like the thing is where like I told you, I want to be a scheduled guy. I don't want you to call me at 3 and go, we need you at 4. I don't want, and none of that bullshit. But also even worse, like it's it's not even bad. I've never heard from them.
Yeah.
I have a go-between who I talk to, and he's just like, look, man, things are really weird over there now because of this and this and this and this. And I'm like, this is exactly what I don't fucking want.
Dodged a bullet.
I mean, as little as I don't want to get punched in the face anymore, even less do I want to deal with corporate bullshit and people quitting in the middle of shifts and people not knowing what, I mean, none of that. I got no interest in any of that bullshit. I didn't like Ubering. I didn't like Ubering, but it was by myself I drove around and listened to fucking music all night. And I could have food in the car and I could drink water, and I was my own boss. And eventually, somebody would throw up and I'd want to fucking punch a hole through their rib cage. But I was still, at the end of the day, I was the fucking boss, and I could decide to go home if I wanted. I could do whatever the fuck. And nobody, I didn't, and I could drive during the day when there's very few drunk vomiters around if I wanted to. I could make that choice. So at the very least, I was my own boss, regardless of all the other fuckery around it. But so the bouncing gig fell through. So I'm like, in my brain, I'm not even joking, I started looking into fucking background extra shit.
Yeah.
And because I'm union, and it's like $190 a day. And I'm like, I can go fucking eat a Twix bar on a set for fucking 8 hours and get $190. I'll do that. You know what I mean? But the problem is I'm like a big dude who's different looking. Like look, when they're casting background, they're like, hey, find that 6'2", 340 guy. Get that guy. And the guy who shaves his head on the side, get him. Nobody will notice him in the background of our scene where Nicolas Cage is wearing an overcoat. God damn, your eyes will not be drawn off to the ogre who's ready to fucking thrash someone at any moment. Look at that guy holding up a wall. Is that guy, holy shit, did that guy walk out of a wrestling ring? Why is he in the background? Is he going to attack Nicolas Cage? He must be a heavy. Jesus Christ. No, they don't want that. So I now have to try to go like, oh, do I have to look like a normal fucking idiot? I don't know. Because I'm scrambling, man. I'm not going to lie. I got all sorts of shit where I'm trying to figure stuff out and money and whatever the fuck. Where were we even? Oh, Roxanne Cyrano. So Cyrano, this is not a joke, man. Saturday night I'm watching, I was going to watch 2 movies. And I watched Cyrano and it ended and I watched the credits. My eyes were burning. I was physically affected by this film because my eyes and my face were and my heart. I was just like, oh my God. I felt like when I saw Les Miserables, the movie, everybody tells me there's other other productions of it that I should see that are much more devastating. But the movie with Hugh Jackman and Anne Hathaway and Russell Crowe, I said I watched it and a deer kicked in a door and came in and started licking my face. That's how much I was crying. I couldn't. I was so devastated. It's like when I watch Boys in the Hood, and the fucking Ricky dies, and you're like, literally 5 guys die because one guy stepped on a guy's shoes. It's the most senseless fucking. It just waylaid me in the theater. So I watched Cyrano, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna watch another fucking movie. How am I gonna recover from that? Jesus Christ! I either, because there's only one thing you can either sink lower. You know what I mean? Or you try to find watch The Music Man and go, all right, well, you think you got trouble right there in River City? Have you heard what happened to Cyrano? Oh, man. All right. That starts with C and that rhymes with me, and I'm sitting here fucking devastated after watching that movie. Fuck your 76 trombones. So I'm like, what could possibly pull me out of the depths? So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? Something I haven't done in a long time. I wanted to watch a comedy special. I'm like, I'll watch a stand-up thing because I don't watch stand-up, but I have so many to watch. Like I asked my buddy Jimmy Pardo, I go, Jimmy, who's the funniest guy right now? Who's the guy I have to see? And he goes, Nate Bargatze's really fucking good. And I was like, all right, so that's a guy I got to check out because we all think Brian Regan's the funniest guy in the world at the clubs and shit like that. I saw him live; he's fucking amazing. So Nate Bargatze has just a couple of specials. Kyle Kinane is extremely funny. He's fucking great. Funny. He's got some specials out there. John Mulaney, I've never seen his specials, but I think John is extremely funny. I don't give a shit about his wife and his baby and Olivia Munn. I don't give a fuck about any of that. On stage is what I'm watching. I'm not watching him be a shitbag in real time. I'm watching him be funny on a stage. So get off my dick. I'm so this thing.
Get off my dick.
I'm just getting ahead of it because everybody's just like, well, how can you possibly quantify his behavior? I can't. I can watch a guy be funny on stage for an hour. That's what I can do.
His bit about playing the song over and over and over again is truly one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
It's incredibly funny, but it makes me mad because again, do you remember when I told that story on here?
Yes.
When Lenny and I were on the road and I was mad he was with a chick, so I played "Is She Really Going Out with Him" by Joe Jackson 10 times on the fucking jukebox at lunch. Because it was fucking, it's the same exact story.
Yep.
But I did it in real life, and I told that story here like by year 2, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad because his version, it's so unbelievably funny.
Again, I don't even believe it happened. It's written too well.
Doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter because it's written so well. And that's why I'm like, it's just, it is a great piece. So
he's a
yes.
genius. He's a genius.
He's a genius and an awful person. It happens a lot.
I don't think he's an awful person. And here's why.
Well,
look, you're talking about a guy who I was married and then wound up cheating on my wife with somebody I met through this fucking show. So, I mean, it's like, I can't sit here and be like, I can't judge anybody because I did the same fucking thing that he did. He's like, oh, you know what? And also he was a wife guy. That's another thing. Like this happened yesterday with the Try Guys. You ever see those ass fucks? They're these YouTube dudes. And like, because look at, literally they were on my Discovery Plus. It was like the Try Guys eat fucking chow mein. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck these idiots are. And you ain't got to try to eat chow mein. Open, insert chow mein. The end. Done. Fucking do it. That's how you eat chow mein. Nobody's trying. But it turns out they're YouTube guys who are like, I'm going to try to wear women's underwear. I'm going to try to wear a shoulder holster. I'm going to try to wash a plate. You know, whatever the fuck. Dumb fucks. And then everybody likes them because they're cool. But now one of them banged somebody who's not his wife. And his whole fucking existence, besides being the guy who was willing to try a can opener, was I love my wife. And so now everybody's like, hey, man, you must not have really loved your wife if you fucked the mail handler or whoever the fuck he banged. But at the same time, if you again listen to the beginning of the show, the first 3 years of the show, I was like, because I told Karen when I started the show, I go, look, you're the hero in every story. You know this. I wouldn't do this if I wasn't. I'm not going to make you look dumb or bad, but I'm going to say everything that has happened. And she was like, I'm in. And then, I wound up, unfortunately, 5 years later, I would tell a story. I love my wife, but then, and then it turns out I'm just as much a fucking terrible person as everybody else. So can
I tell you a secret?
Oh, goodness.
There was always something that I saw right after I love my wife that was never said out loud.
Well, I did love her. I know. Look, you knew because you knew us.
I love my wife, but we don't belong together is what leads to cheating.
Yes, but I stayed because I stole her fucking life. It's my fault.
I don't think you stole her. I don't think you stole her life. I don't think you stole her life. I'm not saying you're a perfect person. None of us are perfect people, but you don't get to wear all of it. You just don't.
That's fine. But I'm saying, like, when people talk about this Try Guy or whatever, or John Mulaney, they're like, oh my God, he had a beautiful wife, and everybody invested in them because he always was like, I love her artwork, her art gallery show. He made it. He was a wife guy. And then he banged Olivia Munn and had a baby like a month after he divorced his wife. And everybody's like, this guy's a liar. And it's like, yeah, but have you seen Olivia Munn? I mean, I get what you're saying. But like, have you ever seen those fucking nude?
You're not helping yourself in this story.
You ever seen those nude pictures of Olivia Munn when she wrote to Chris Pine and she's like, "These holes belong to you"? And this fucking.
No, I didn't because I don't look at non-consensual porn.
This wasn't. She released it. She put it out on her Instagram.
She put the photo out on her Instagram.
Maybe not. I don't know. It makes my story better.
I don't think so.
If it makes my case, yes, she released those. Didn't you see that? Oh my God.
By the way, do you know that right now in the state of California, if you send me a dick pic unsolicited, I can now sue you for up to $30,000 per photo. I love America.
I got news for you. If you saw my dick, would you think I had $30,000?
Doesn't matter. Let's bury these people in debt.
Well, you've seen it, unfortunately. Yeah, you made the mistake of seeing picture 31. You scrolled.
I did see picture 31.
I know.
But then again, my tits are out on the internet, so but mine are out there consensually.
I got your tits in a spyglass right here on my desk.
That's very true. You can also buy them right now at burlesque.com. So anyway.
So anyway, the point is I didn't watch Mulaney, not for any reason that where people are like, yeah, good for you. You didn't watch him because he was mean. It's like, no, I didn't. I picked somebody else. So I watched another special because I was looking because like I said, Mulaney, I haven't seen the new Burr, all these different ones. I don't watch comedy specials, truthfully, because I'm mad at myself because I never worked hard enough to try to get one, and I'm jealous. I won't lie. It's the truth.
You've done 9,000 comedy specials.
I do a 2 to 3 hour comedy album every week. Yes, that's right. But it doesn't matter. It's not on Netflix and it's 2 hours. And it does matter in the context of the people who like it. Yes. I'm just saying though, when I see somebody doing a live stand-up thing, because I was on that path and then I fucking just didn't work hard enough. Whatever.
You can still do it if you want to.
I don't know if you heard about Lewis Black. So have you heard? He was old too. He was old and a failure, just like you. I get that all the time. All right. So anyway, I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to watch this particular special. I was like, there was one that I was like, you know what? I have it locked. I have it loaded. I'm going to watch it. And I went ahead and threw it on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking terrible. And like, I watched it and it was one of those things where I was like, man, I wonder if I should stop watching this, like, cause it's bad, but I can't, my tiny brain will not let me stop watching things. I just
want to, this is the guy Pardo recommended to listen to.
No, I didn't watch.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying who this person is.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
I'm not because there's a chance I'll run into them at some point. Perhaps we have mutual friends. Perhaps I know these people. I can't say anything, but I watched the special and I was like, I mean, at the 20-minute mark, I'm going, oh man. All right. Well, we'll see. It's an hour long. And let's put it the way. This special should have come in an envelope. Because if they had mailed it in any harder, I would have had to pay return postage. I was shocked. Okay. And I can't and won't say this person was. but I was like, oh man. And I was angry too, because I went, here's the thing. Look, I'm not fishing for compliments, and I'm not looking to be pulled out of the void. I'm a nobody. All right. And it's my own fault. I did not work hard enough.
You're not a nobody.
But stop. But I'm saying, but then when you see someone who has an arena full of people who love them, and they give that kind of half-hearted, stilted performance, you're just mad at them, because you're mad because you're like when the point is I'm mad at me too, because I'm like, this person got away with this. And, I mean, and look, and if she wants to do, or if they want to do this, regardless, that's fine. Good for them.
I'm going to go look some things up while we're talking.
Well, I didn't say where I streamed it. I didn't say where I watched it. I didn't say anything.
I agree with you though, because you have to have the audience that you connect with, and they just may not have been your type of comic.
But in the past, they have been. That's my point.
People change. People leave their wives and have a baby, and their comedy is no longer about "I love my wife." It's about, what it's like being a father, and then the next thing you know, they're Jim Gaffigan.
Well, but then even worse, this is after Cyrano. I'm looking for a fucking life raft. I should have gone in reverse and gone the other route, because I'll tell you this: I got that streaming app that has like literally every channel in the world. And I don't want to get into it, but I do for some reason. And it also has movies on demand.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've watched a ton of movies on demand that I hadn't seen, or movies that are new, like they're still in the theater. So I found out, because I was sorting through the movies, because I'm looking. You know what movie they don't have though? The one fucking movie they don't have, and I'm not even joking. Sicario. It's the one. I've never seen Sicario, but they have Sicario 2. They have some bullshit called American Sicario. You know what's funny to me? It's called American Sicario. It stars Danny Trejo, because there's always those movies that were made right for Redbox.
Yeah.
Remember when you were a kid and there'd be some like, it's like, this is E.T., but then wait a minute, the Wish version of E.T. is Mac and Me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of the same. There's an alien in a wagon, but he likes Skittles and he likes peanut butter pieces, whatever the fuck. So that's the thing. So now on my TV now there's Moonfall, which was a big budget. Yeah. Okay. But there's also Moon Crash, which is the same thing about the something crashes into the moon and a piece of the moon falls off and it's headed toward America or whatever the fuck. And then there's something called Moonshot, and it's about guys who have to go fix the moon because it's doing again. And they're all the same kind of box, the same kind of character. And I'm like, this is just to fool people into watching people who don't remember Moonfall's name. It's terrible. And they're all lined up next to one another. You're like, fuck. So, but you know what?
Cereal.
So it didn't have Sicario, right? But you know what it had? Because it has like crime, and then it has action and drama, thriller, comedy, documentaries. It has all these different categories. But then it had some category called, non-categories or whatever. Then it also had something called Wale, Walay. And I'm like, is that in some fucking weird language? I don't know. So I clipped on Wale. I'm like, wow, there's got to be some interesting stuff under Wale. Do you know what they have for streaming on my fucking this service?
No.
Sallow, The 100 Days of Sodom. Do you know what that is?
No. Maybe, but I don't remember it.
Well, let's put it this way. Like if I had wanted to, if I was watching Cyrano and afterwards I was like, fuck, that was terrible, I should cheer myself up. No, let's see how bleak we can possibly be. You would dial up Sallow, The 100 Days of Sodom. It is essentially, because when I heard about it, I was like, it's like, do you know what a Serbian film is?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Where the guy has sex with a baby and then vomits in his wife's pussy, like all the, and it's a movie, it's an actual movie. And okay. So I have no interest in ever seeing it, but when I heard about it, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So Sallow is that.
Oh, well, I'm out. I don't.
It's a show where it's like, I guess it's all these Italian aristocrats and diplomats take like 50 kids from the village, like, and they're all like 18, of course, because you can't do other, and they do, and it's a lot of, I mean, it's bad. Like, I mean, it's, when I was reading the description, I was like, there's coprophagia, there's homosexuality, there's rape, there's this, there's that, all these different things with these kids. I think not only do they nail someone's scrotum to a board, I think they nail someone else's scrotum to a board. I think it happens twice. Which, by the way, I want to be on set when the director does the nailing a scrotum to the board and goes, "We gotta run that back."
Oh,
that was awesome. All right, let's go. Line up the scrotums.
Oh,
no, but I did not know that was streaming on my thing. But again, it's one of those things where it's a running joke with people who are like, it's almost like, hey, you got to see it because it's this experience, and I'm like, no, never, no, thank you, I don't want to.
Did you do Faces of Death when you were younger?
I did.
Yeah,
But here's the thing: Faces of Death. Even as a kid, you knew it was fake. Like the person getting eaten by the alligator is fake. It's because it's just all of a sudden a person falls in a swamp. They show an alligator, then they show the alligator with the coat in its mouth and blood in the water. Like you never see anything happen. But the stuff that's real in Faces of Death is awful, and you don't want anything to do with it. The monkeys, again, it's literally that's one of the worst things I ever saw in my life, and you're just like, this is a real thing.
I want to say that when I rented Faces of Death with my friends and we were watching it, I realized at that moment as I looked around the room and I went, yeah, I do have to judge my friends by their actions and things that they find interesting at this point. Because up until that point, I was like, do what you want to do, you vote for women. And, I was going for like all of the things that made society be better. But when I watched Faces of Death, I kind of looked around the room and went, I have to be very specific about things that I don't like and people that I want to judge at this point. Because it was just awful. It was awful. And I, a lot of times we'll start a movie and go, yeah, these are subjects Dahmer is that way. I'm like, not a chance. I'm going to watch that. I watched the first 10 minutes and I went, nope, not going to do it. I love Evan as an actor. I hear the rest of the performances are amazing, but I don't need trauma porn in my life.
You love Ryan Murphy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, there just comes a point where I was like, Silence of the Lambs really pushed a lot of things, but it was Alfred Hitchcock, not fucking blood and gore reality.
Well, when I was a kid, again, we watched Faces of Death. I watched Faces of Death, and but getting to Dahmer real quick.
Yeah.
Netflix really wants you to watch it, don't they?
Yes, they do.
They keep. It's funny because they're like it's literally their number one downloaded show ever besides Stranger Things, number one most watched show besides Stranger Things. And I'm like, well, part of me is like, well, again, that's because every time you turn on Netflix, his face is staring at you and it starts playing automatically the trailer. And they're like, play now. I'm like, I don't, because I'm with you. I have no interest in watching the show. There's been, I think, 3 movies and 2 documentaries already about this guy. Now, I will say this. Everything I've heard from everybody is that it's done extremely well. I've heard it's really disturbing and gross and terrible. And I'm just like, hey, look, I can get that in fictional movies.
Well, and the other thing that they say is that they really tried to bring the victims' families forward and give a voice to the victims, except the victims were all like, we don't want this movie made.
I was just going to say that. Like, I didn't know if you're going to finish the point.
And that's why I went, it's non-consensual trauma porn on top of it. And that's where I just kind of went, I can't. I just can't.
Well, it's in the same vein, that Marilyn Monroe movie is coming out called Blonde.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I love that director. Andrew Dominik made Killing Them Softly, which is one of my favorite movies. It's fucking awesome. It's so bleak and sad. So he made this. It's Brad Pitt, James Gandolfini, Richard Jenkins. It's fucking awesome.
James Gandolfini?
That's what I said.
James Gandolfini?
Yeah, it's from 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah. It's one of his last projects.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. It had never got. Okay. Yeah. It took me a minute to. Yeah.
So that's Andrew Dominik, the director. Well, there's an interview with Andrew Dominik, I think, for New York Magazine yesterday, and this woman is asking him these questions, and she's framing them in an interesting way. I found her line of questioning to be very enlightening, saying things like, "Look, you're making this movie called Blonde. It's NC-17. It's about Marilyn Monroe." And I know people who've seen it, and they're disappointed that you didn't deal with the fact that Marilyn was very active in civil rights on behalf of Ella Fitzgerald, and she fought the studios and won control and defeated men who all thought she thought she wasn't smart, and she actually held her ground. And and Andrew Dominik's answer was, "Look, this is a movie about somebody who kills themselves." He goes, "So yeah, is she empowered? And I suppose she is." But this is a movie about a woman who we know her tragic ending, and we want to get to that. It's like he had this tin ear completely to this woman's framing of Marilyn was much more, and look, to her credit, she was basically saying, Marilyn's a lot more than what you fucking put her in this movie.
Yes.
You kind of hear the fuck you in the questions, because there were two questions specifically that he kind of tap danced through, and you were disappointed because you're like, if you're directing the story of her life, which I'm told is supposed to be almost a real in-depth telling of her story. Okay, you're going to see things you didn't see or whatever. You would know these things. You would care about them. But in reality, is he just doing the, hey, we're going to show her fucking boop boop doo and the subway great, and then happy birthday, Mr. President, and then a handful of pills? Is he going to tell the story we all know?
It's really hard. When my friend Angel was having the documentary done about her, Satan's Angel, it's a great documentary. When she was having that done, at the end of the filming, she split with her partner. And so there's like this entire film about the two of them together. And then there's like this one screen about Angel now lives in da 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 with such and such. And Vic is living in Las Vegas. Yeah. And I'm like, that's kind of how I look at all of these things. Is it's what you focus on and the time and energy that you put into it. And people are so complex. And yeah, he wanted to tell the story of a tragic heroine rather than the downfall of the two parts of who she was as a human. It's horrible.
Well, he even says, well, we're not dealing with her whole life here. We're dealing with this.
We're dealing with the one thing. But
I remember I did, because I knew you were tight with Satan's Angel, and she was your great friend. And then I watched the documentary, and because she was your friend, but we didn't really go into detail about it. I knew of your friendship, but I got to admit, when that ended and that placard came up, I was shocked because I did not know that Satan's Angel had started dating Olivia Munn.
Well, have you seen her photos that she?
Oh, sure. Well, no, I don't watch any non-consensual porn from someone named Satan's Angel.
I think most of hers was consensual.
Yeah.
I mean, you're telling a story, and you're telling the part of the story that you want to tell.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
So I watched the stand-up special, and it was they just left me. I was shocked by it. And I was like, all right, what a drag. So then I saw Chris Fleming yesterday, and he did this. Sometimes when you use this word, it can be a pejorative, but I don't mean it as such. He was effortless in his hour and a half that he did. And he had slides on his phone, and he would bring them up, and he makes up dumb songs, like these ridiculous. And I say dumb in a nice, funny way because they're
simplistic, silly.
Well, the reason he first came out, he had a video that went viral for Sick Jan, and Sick Jan was his. She did his taxes, and so then he wrote a song about her, and it is so silly. It's very, he's very emo, Phillips, and very. Nice. It's like if Emo Phillips and Pee Wee Herman, but also Mitch Hedberg, and then I would say someone like Apardo, because of his fast, quick crowd stuff and his ability to talk and relate. Because I will tell you this too, another thing, he's a young person. I'm assuming I would guess that he's probably 33 is how I would guess how old Chris is, which I would hope he would not hear that guess, because if I'm wrong, he would very sad. Because he referenced, because on stage last night he'd go as a 50-year-old man, and then the whole crowd would explode laughing because clearly he's not, and then he would go, you laughed a little too hard at that. He'd do that silly thing, but then he kept saying, he would say it like 3 or 4 times, but then he mentioned about something about mid-30s or whatever. But also his references are they're like he said names of people that I did not know who they were, and it would get a huge laugh just because of him saying them, and they're fashion people, or they're online people, or they're housewives people. I don't even know. And people would, this young, it was a real young crowd. And he also got, I say this online, like he had a ton of female fans, like everybody on his Instagram who kept repeating and and he would share their stories. They were women, they were young women. And they would talk about how incredibly funny he was and all this stuff. And he mentioned it last night. He said something, and someone said, they were married. He goes, who's married? Who has a wife? I am not for wives. I am not for men with wives. I'm here for theater kids. I'm here for anybody who, I'm the Pied Piper of the chorus class. And he skips across the stage. He was effortlessly funny. And unfortunately, I will say this, about 2/3 of the way through the show, about an hour, 50 minutes in to his hour. And I mean, he was killing me. I was crying. I was laughing hard. And he said something specifically that I could not stop laughing at. And I have a distinctive laugh. And I was letting myself go because I was like, sometimes I'll watch comics and I'll go, well, I would have done this, or you could do this, or this is a different way. And I was doing some of that analyzing, but he was just a fun performer. He was so great. And his material was really funny. But then he did this bit and I could not stop laughing. I was laughing and laughing. And it kind of calmed down, and he was standing with his side to the audience, and he kind of peered over his shoulder at me, and I still couldn't stop laughing. I was in the back row even. I was trying to be as fucking out of the way. And he looked at me and he just kind of like nodded and kind of smiled. And then he went, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha. And then he pretended he was on a horse and he rode around the stage going, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. And I felt terrible. Like I was like, oh no, did I, because I don't want to be part of it, and because then he goes, I live in terror of fake laughs. He goes, and anytime there's a prominent laugh in the room, I immediately think it's fake. Like I go that way. And then he did the horse thing again. Ha, 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 ha. And then somebody on the other sid of the room laughed hard at that. And he goes, don't you start. Because I got this over here. I don't need you involved, E6, because he had called him. And it was just great. I mean, he was just great. But I did not laugh out loud the rest of the show on purpose because I felt I didn't want to be that. And I didn't want him to think it was fake. Even the very hint that he would think I was faking. Yeah. Like, why would I pay $20 in a sold out room to come in and fake laugh at you? I mean, I was dying because you were fucking hysterical. He does this. He has a very Mitch Hedberg thing that he does. And it's not even material or comedy or anything. It's his laugh. He'll do a bit and then he'll go, and the grin it's very Hedberg. Like I was like, I got goosebumps the first time he did it, and he does it the whole show. He'll do something and be like, huh, and he'll laugh at something silly. And man, he showed a clip. It was the stupidest clip. And again, it's the stupidest clip. But when a guy shows it, it was a clip of it. It's a DVD of Peter Gabriel on stage. Because he did this bit about the Tarzan soundtrack with Phil Collins. I'm going to do the bit because it made me laugh so hard. He goes, Phil Collins, he did the Tarzan soundtrack. He goes, that was a mistake. He goes, I'm guaranteeing you the Disney people reached out to Phil Collins to do the voice of an antelope. And then somehow Phil Collins misunderstood. And then he did the two executives and he goes, hey, Phil Collins. He goes, oh, did he bring by an audition tape for the antelope? He goes, he did not. He brought us 10 fully orchestrated songs, giving us the entire story arc of the Tarzan film. He goes, so now these guys who just wanted the voice of an antelope have now turned over the entire emotional arc of this film to Phil Collins, and they can't tell him no. And then he plays the songs, and you're just like, and he lip synced it. I can't even imagine. So, but then he's like, he goes, Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel, he goes, they're just uncles in a band. It's like so weird because Genesis was an uncle band. He goes, and then there's this clip. He goes, I found a clip of Peter Gabriel. He goes, this is, if you're ever, people talk about when you're having sex and if you're going to go too fast. And they always say, think of your grandma, think of baseball, whatever. He goes, I'm giving you the tools that will forever help you with this. It will fix it. And he goes, this clip is Peter Gabriel. He's singing Salisbury Hill, and for absolutely no reason this happens. And he presses play, and it's a real clip, and it's theater in the round. And Peter Gabriel's Salisbury Hill, and then he gets on a bicycle, and he rides it around the stage. And it's so stupid on its own.
Yes,
you're dying. But then the fact that he pointed it out. Is so great because I would have never found it or known it. And he goes, watch. He goes, no, that's not even. He goes, that's bad. He goes, even because the best part. He goes, and he's talking over the clip. He goes, the crowd's not even into it. He goes, you look, they're just kind of like, and yeah, okay, yeah, they're clapping. And then he goes, but watch this, watch. And Peter Gabriel rides it around, he does like 3 laps, and then he stops, he gets off the bicycle, goes, that's Salisbury Hill. He gets back on the bicycle, rides it counterclockwise the other way. And the place explodes because it's like we weren't expecting that, and it's just he's literally just pointing out the clip, and he goes, but oh my god, but no, but then wait, this happens, hold on, and he freezes it. And he goes, the bass player, because the bass player is like kind of like doing a dance, and Gabriel goes on the bicycle, and he goes behind the bass player, and he goes, no, and it freezes, and he goes, the eclipse of the bass player, it was foretold, and then the prophecy is here, and he shows like crows leaving trees, and stock footage of explosions. It was fucking hysterical, dude, and I mean, just fucking found, and he turned it into the bit about the sex, if you're ever having sex, think of Peter Gabriel on a bicycle singing Salisbury Hill. But then the eclipse of the bass player, and then the prophecy and the crows. I'm just like, oh, dude, he was so funny. And in my brain, I'm like, he's been here recently, and I'm like, he's got to be in meetings. I mean, people have got to be trying to scoop him up or do something. But I also liked, he wasn't afraid to be kind of nasty. Like he name checked some comics and kind of made fun of them a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, this is why I don't have a special. He goes, because I do a show for each individual audience member. He goes, you're going to take this away. You're going to take that away. He goes, I don't have a hive mind. I'm not Eliza Schlesinger 2 in the Pink. All right. Where everybody's on the same page. He goes, I'm scattershot. I'm all over. And then he name checked her. He name checked another comic. I'm not a Bert Kreischer ass man where, everybody in the audience feels the exact same way. He goes, that's not the way it is here. And then he like lays down on the stage, just a comfortable performer. My God, I loved him. I've been waiting to see him. Could not have been better. It was exactly what I hoped it would be. He was so great. And you want to hug him too. He's just so fucking cute and awesome. I mean, he's just that guy. And again, there's no, he talked, he did, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have to do this bit. He was talking about how during the pandemic, he was more of an online, he goes, I had to adjust my approval to likes and clicks. And he's like, but he knows how stupid it is. Cause then he just goes, as an internet creator, he yells it. He's like, forget your pens and your masterpieces with paints. I work in the milieu of the internet. It's so funny. And then he said he got a lot of Republican hate. He said, because they see me and they don't know what to do with me. He goes, but you could do that all the time. Some guys like writes me and they're like, hey, you sissy, why don't you go with your boyfriend? He goes, I'll skip right through the butterfly sanctuary to that kind of stuff. I don't care. You're not going to make me mad. He goes, but no way. I made fun of Lady Gaga about a year ago. Gen Z does not fuck around.
No, they do not.
He goes, a Republican can say a million things to me. And I'm like, la da da da. And he goes, one time Gen Z wrote, oh man, bestie, you look dehydrated. And he goes, and he lays on the stage. He's like, no, stop. Hey, bestie, you look like you get your protein from pastries. Oh no. Oh, I couldn't possibly. Dude, he's like, it's just whatever. Just if you get a chance, and I guarantee it'll be different every time you see him. I got that vibe completely because he was just so goddamn good.
He made up for Cyrano.
Yeah, it took 3 days. But it worked. It was funny. My buddy Bob was in town, and he was here for he's here for 3 days. So he wanted to go out Tuesday. I go, well, do you want to go to this comedy show with me? He's like, I can't. I got work. I go, all right. And then he wrote me yesterday fucking morning. He's like, I can go. And I'm like, sold out, dude. Sorry. But we made dinner reservations. Can't help you.
For hot dogs? Did you go for hot dogs?
Well, wait, brace yourself. We want to go to he was like, where are we going? And he was downtown and the show was near downtown. So I was like, well, we'll find a joint there. I go, but the problem is like getting stuff. I said, I don't think this show's going to be done till 9. And a lot of stuff closes at 9 now. So I started looking, and there was a place called All Day Baby, which is really good. But
what do they serve,
dude? Well, they sell liquor too, but also they have like breakfast biscuits and chicken sandwiches, like really good food. It's fucking amazing food. If you Google it, you'll see it. But now at night they have a Vietnamese pop-up who's doing Vietnamese food for dinner, and they're open till 10. So I'm like, I'll go have some fucking whatever the fuck these guys make, glass noodles and shit. I'm in. Let's do it. But then Major Domo is down there. If you don't know what Major Domo is David Chang's flagship restaurant here in Los Angeles. David Chang is a podcaster now of some note. He has been on the Bill Simmons show. He now has his own shows. He has a show on Netflix and a show on Hulu. And David Chang came on my radar in 2012, maybe. When I did my show in New York, he had a restaurant called Momofuku in New York, and listeners, unfortunately the names escape me, but it was a couple brought me to Momofuku, and it was amazing. So I've had his food. I mean, and I'm a fan. Yeah, I follow him on Instagram and stuff. So Major Domo, I've never been, but Major Domo. So I said, what about this 9:15 on the patio? He's like, Bob's like, sure, whatever the fuck, I don't care. So I went to make reservations, and they have a thing. They have a whole beef rib, but you have to tell them 24 hours in advance that you want it because it's a big deal. Yeah. So I didn't get to order it. I was bummed, but so I go there and I meet Bob, and he's got a Mai Tai. Because I have no idea why. And then we go to get our table, and he's like, he looks at me. Bob and I went to Vegas last year too, and I never really got it. I never told the story because of that was when I was but also me. I was convinced nobody wanted to hear what I fucking had to say. So we went to Vegas. He took me to Vegas. He's like, "What are you doing in December?" And he goes, "I don't see you enough, Schmidt. We got to fucking do this." Bob, I should tell you, Bob is my friend was a comedian. I met Bob. He was a comedian. He has since become a VC guy. He's a numbers guy. He works in a hedge fund or a VC, a venture capitalist firm, whatever. I don't know that world.
Yeah.
All I know is he's really good at what he does. And he's been a numbers guy his whole life, which is so great for work and also so unbelievably devastating because he's a degenerate gambler because of it.
Oh no!
So, not to the point. I mean, he's got it to do it, but he's never been in trouble. But it's that thing where, like, literally, his whole family is just his grandpa is one of the most famous athletic figures in Illinois history. He was a coach named Gordy Gillespie, and he was and he's just revered. He's in the high school Hall of Fame. He's in all these, So I met Bob before. I knew who Gordy was long before I even knew who Bob was. So one night when I first go back to Chicago, this is in 92, maybe, when I moved back from LA. And I wind up at the Comedy Room to do stand-up. And my buddy Jeff is with me. And I know, look, man, it's Leno's old joke. Hey, man, I'm at ha-has, he-he's, ho-hos. Next week I'm playing That's where I'm playing next week. So at Jeff goes with me to the Comedy Room, and it's fucking zoo night. It's like, it's open mic. So they 10 performers, and I'm auditioning to get paid work. So I'm not just signing the clipboard. I'm there to actually I got recommended by somebody. And this guy, Mark Schufelt, ran the Womb. And he was there, he tended bar, and he ran the comics. He didn't own the space. It was above a Greek restaurant, but he was the god of the room. And sometimes in comedy, you get the god of the room, and he's a fucking ass fuck. You'll do great. And he'll be like, you know what, call me next week. And then you call him next week, and he's like, who are you again? And you're like, dude, I killed for you last week. You told me to call. I'm going to have to see you. I haven't seen you. And no, you saw me last Tuesday. And that shit in comedy happens all the time. Or you get the god of the room who actually kind of cares about comedy and will watch you and is into it. And that's what Schufelt was. Now, Mark was also eminently impersonatable. Everybody in Chicago's got a Schufelt. Because essentially it was this. It was just this hangdog.
Wow.
Beaten down by the world guy who had a heart of gold, but nobody knew about it because no one's going to find me in a fucking bar in Lyons. You know what I mean? Like, just a super great guy. And he would tell you, he thought you were funny. He would tell you. It was that kind of deal. And he saw comedy all the fucking time. So now you're flexing your neck and your back.
Okay, I'm listening.
All right. Well, this could get long. It's going to be just a couple stories dovetailing into one another. And I don't want you to pass out. You can lay down like Chris Fleming if you want. I mean, you can do that. That works. So I go to do this thing. Jeff came with me because I was just back in town, so I was seeing my friends a lot. And Jeff came with me, and we watched the open mics. And it was devastating how bad they were. Like, I mean, there was this notorious couple, Diane Dooley and Dave Dooley. They weren't a couple; they were brother and sister. The Dooleys, and they just showed up at every open mic. And they did their material. And Diane was scary. Diane looked like she had riddles you needed to answer to cross a bridge. I mean, she was just kind of kind of bent like a crone, and she had her jacket pulled up under her chin. Like there was some issues in the Dooley household. It wasn't just persona; they were bananas. But Diane was nothing compared to David, because David one time went on stage, and I've seen tons of bad comedy. I've seen some streaming in some instances, but I've never seen anyone who made me feel like Dave Dooley did the first time I ever saw him. And he had this real one step ahead of the authorities feel to him. Where you were like, what is going on with this guy? Something is up, and because this was the joke he did. He did this joke on stage. I never forgot it. I don't know anything else he did, except I remember how terrible it was. But he did this joke. He's like, don't you hate it when the orderly promises you a candy bar if you suck his dick?
Oh.
And then he doesn't give it to you?
Oh.
And I mean, look, we're all creative people. You can find humor in a Peter Gabriel CD if you want, a DVD. But that particular grouping of words, you must have lived at some point. The deepest, darkest mind might conjure that up for some sort of script, but no one's going to think, hey, this is funny. And you know what? Write what you know. And if what you know is sucking off orderlies for candy bars, then you're going to bring it to the stage and think, hey, this is relatable to everybody, isn't it? And it wasn't even that thing where he was pivoting to be like the shocking guy to make everybody go, oh my God. Oh, I felt that this was a true thing. Like I felt awful when I heard it. And then he just did more awfulness on top of it. But they would show up every week to do the open mic at the Womb. So I was waiting to go on stage, and then this guy went on stage who was he looked just like Hank Williams Jr. Down to the cowboy hat, vest, glasses, the whole deal. And so fucking Jeff and he starts doing his stand-up, and it's so bad. It's just so awful that I look at Jeff, and Jeff is looking at the stage like he saw a stabbing. Like and he doesn't know I'm looking at him. We're not making eye contact like, dude, this is awful. He's just like, oh. Like he was trying to make sense of it. That's what I can explain. If you somehow stumbled into a hall of madness, and you were like, and it was just this Lovecraftian nightmare that you had never anticipated, and you were trying to make sense of it in your head, and then you had some grim visage where you were just like trying to come to grips with whatever you were experiencing in that moment. That's what Jeff felt for the Hank Williams Jr. stand-up comic. Oof. And we called him Hanks WJ. We were like, Hanks WJ is fucking awful. This guy's terrible. So he was fucking we were livid at how bad he was. But then Bob went on stage. I don't know Bob at the time. And also I still have my Los Angeles attitude. And these people are not doing anything to strip me of it because they all fucking blow. And I'm just like, fuck, whatever. I auditioned for Evening at the Improv a month ago. I fucking killed. Warren Beatty clapped for me, gave me the thumbs up. Daryl Strawberry loved me. You fucking slobs. Meanwhile, I'm just like everybody else trying to get work. So Bob goes on stage, and Bob's about a 6'2" redhead, thin, just whip it thin. And he's holding the mic stand, and you can see he's got all this attitude bursting out of him. And he does. I'm going to do his joke. He doesn't care. He doesn't do it anymore. But he's talking about his dad. He goes, my dad, I'll tell you, he was my old man, exaggerates. He says the craziest shit. Because Roger Clemens had just gotten the biggest contract in the history of Major League Baseball. And he goes, my dad calls me up. He's like, yeah, Bobby, you see this Roger Clemens deal? $3 million a year. And I said, yeah, Dad, he's the best pitcher in baseball. Come on, $3 million. You know what I'd do for $3 million, Bobby? I don't know, Dad. I don't know if I want to hear this. You know what you could do? You could take a glass tube and insert it in my penis. That's what I'd do for $3 million. I'm talking all the way up there, Bobby. Okay, Dad, I don't think you know. And you know what? Here's the thing. You could smash it with a mallet, Bobby. Make a glass tube, slide it all the way up my penis, and smash it with a mallet. For $3 million, I would fucking do that. All right, Dad, you don't need to go and tell me more of this bullshit story. You know what else I do? I'll tell you this, Bobby. You take that glass tube, you slide it up my penis, smash it with a mallet, then you can pull the shards out of my urethra with a shrimp fork. That's what I would fucking do for $3 million, Bobby. And we were dying because I'm just like, it was so great and different and weird. And I've never forgotten the phrase, you can pull the shards out of my urethra with a shrimp fork. Again, it's all language. Language is beautiful. It's all, and that's why I said earlier when the audio's dropping out, of like, this show's structured on fucking language. You can't lose me. So I then, then I go up and I do extremely well. I'm funny because, again, folks, I'm the fucking talent. And so Bobby and I connect, and then we become friends. Like, and it's that thing where first we're comedy friends, but also we can see it's that thing where, again, in this ocean of garbage, you look across and you see the light in somebody else's eyes, and you're like, all right, I've got to get over there quickly. I've got to navigate. It's like the end of the Old Boy hallway. It's like, I got to kill all these fucking guys with this claw hammer because that girl I want to meet is right there. And so Bobby and I hooked up, and he's fucking hilarious. And we've been friends ever since. And this is, what are we looking at, 30 years? So he then goes on to some success in comedy. Like, he starts opening for Jimmy sometimes on the road. And then he starts headlining. He's working the Bone, but he also has this other gig where he could make a lot of money if he wound up going that route. And he had to make a decision, and he finally was like, fuck it, I'm going to do this other gig, and it's turned out very well for him. He's great. So he's great friends with Graham too, Graham Elwood. So he would come out here, and I'd see him with Graham. We'd go to lunch on the beach or whatever and stuff. And I just love seeing him. One of the funniest. I've always said on here, I'm never funnier than I am at a wake. Like I'm always, when I'm funny, if at a wake, I'm fucking hysterical. Remember we did book me for your wake.com, all that stuff. Well, another time that I always remember, one of the funniest times I ever was in my life was I got invited to Bob's place for New Year's Day to watch all the football games, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl at the time. And I was like, yeah, I'll come down. So he was in the city, he was in Chicago. And one of Bob's best friend his whole life is a guy named Eric Richrath. And he's Gary Richrath's son, who was the guitarist in REO Speedwagon.
Oh.
So he's known Eric his whole life. So Eric was there. I meet him, and I meet all of Bob's crew. All right. So I don't know these guys, and they don't know me. And Bob is effusive in his praise for me. And to this day, where it's almost like, hey, dude, you got to calm down, because eventually one of the people you tell isn't going to think I'm as funny as you think I am. And they're going to think you're fucking bananas. That's the deal. Like, I don't even care so much for me, because I'll move on to the next disaster, but you have to go to work with this person. They go, you thought that guy's funny? You like that fucking guy? And then you got to deal with that the rest of your fucking life. So when he invited me to meet his friends, I was just like, all right, because there's comedy friends and then there's real friends. Like, Bob would have fit in with my friends. I know that, because we're all fucking the UN of evil. We're nuts, but I don't know what his friends are like. So I go there, I get there like 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's just food and booze and sodas and just a ton of people, and they're all coming and going. There's like 40 people, here in and out of his place. And I walk in and I start talking, and I don't even know how to explain it. I have every perfect fucking line. I say stuff, and I'm crushing it. And even his friends are like, say stuff, and then I top it, and then I top it again, and I top it again. And what it really felt like is like, you ever see martial arts movies where the master of martial arts, people are attacking him, and he's just doing this?
Yes.
He's waving a hand to push them to the side. He never even engages in combat. He's just literally, he uses their own momentum and everything. It's almost like Aikido, and he's pushing them and shoving them. They're on the floor, all getting out of his way. That's what it was like that day. I was in the comedy matrix. You could not stop me. You absolutely could not. And Bob even said, like, because I stayed till late, because the Orange Bowl ran till like fucking 10 or 11 at night, and I split. And the next time I saw him, he was just like, he goes, my friends were like, who the fuck was that guy? Oh my God. So like, he didn't oversell me, and I was very happy about that, because he has oversold me in the past, and eventually someone's going to think, fuck this guy. So it happened last night. So I meet him at Major Domo, and we're going to go to this fucking, so fake. I didn't finish Vegas. So we went to Vegas. He's like, Schmidt, I never see you. We got to fucking go to Vegas. So we went to the UFC card, and he bought astonishingly good tickets. I have to tell this story because last night he made me tell it. He's like, you got to tell the story on the air. So same deal, where we get a hotel, and then I took him to Morimoto restaurant, because that's my deal. That's my gambling. I want to go to a fucking awesome restaurant. My gambling is go to a strip club and will my thumb fall off because I got chlamydia of the hand. You know what I mean? I said that on a previous podcast. Like I strip clubs and food. That's what I like. And then, but we're old now, so strip clubs, and he's got a girl and whatever. So, but he'll always say that dumb shit to me. He's like, Schmidt, where are the whores? He's like, well, buddy, I don't know if Sabrina's going to be on board with that, but good for you. But I go, but sadly, if you're asking, I probably know, it doesn't mean I'm going to see them, but I have a general idea of where they're located. I have my WPS on at all times. So check out the phone and look for a fucking bent over ping. Which by the way is $50 extra if you get it downtown. You get the bent over ping, you got to cough up to 50. So we go to Vegas last December, and we're in the hotel, and we go to Morimoto for food. Now you're wondering, because Morimoto's an Iron Chef, and I've now had Flay, I've had Izar, I've had all the Iron Chef's food, most of them pretty much at their establishments, and Morimoto's was fine. It was fine. It wasn't like a home run. It wasn't super great. It was exactly what I thought it would be, but I wanted it to really kill me, especially with his name on it, because I know that the place in New York is fucking amazing. And the ones in Vegas are all just like carbon copies or whatever the fuck of the original places that they have. And I get that. But still, I was like, it's really good. He was like, you don't like it? And I go, no, it's good. It's just, I wanted it to be a fucking crazy home run. You know what I mean? Especially at Vegas prices. So we were betting fights. We were going to bet all this stuff. And the UFC starts at like 2 p.m. And I go, well, we're going for the whole thing, right? He goes, oh, fuck yeah, we're going. Definitely. So we go, it's over across the street at the T-Mobile Arena. And we get in, we sit down. And I find myself constantly qualifying who I am and what I do. And I don't want to do that anymore, but I have to. Yeah. I'm really funny. I just am.
Yep.
And so when we sit down, it's not like the kind of funny where it's like I'm being loud or I'm being a jerk and people are like, who's this fucking, I'm not Chris Farley. All right. I'm not shitting out of a 7th floor window. You know what I mean? I have a stiletto and I'm gonna carve people up. I mean, I'm just a funny dude, sharp, quick wit, whatever the fuck. And I keep explaining it and almost apologizing for it. And I'm fucking tired of it, quite frankly, because I don't want people to think that I'm arrogant, but at the same fucking time, my Uzi weighs a ton. I mean, what the fuck are you going to do about it? So we're sitting there and we're goofing around, and the people behind us kind of catch in, and they start leading in, and they're laughing at what I'm saying, and Bob's funny too. Bob's killing it too. We're going back and forth, and our chemistry is real good. But then he just wants me to talk. He's like, Schmidt, just talk. I just want to hear you talk. And so I'm like babbling, whatever the fuck. We're having fun. And there was a fighter named Ryan Hall. He was fighting. Ryan Hall he's like 6 feet tall, but he's got like a 78-inch reach. I mean, he's all arms and legs. It's ridiculous. And he's a jiu-jitsu guy. So he can't throw a punch to save his fucking life, but it doesn't matter in MMA. You got to try to get it. If he gets his hands on you, it's ridiculous. So we bet on him. I was like, we got to bet on Ryan Hall. He's a fucking jiu-jitsu guy. So we bet on him, and he's just smothering his opponent. Like he's just fucking arms and legs. And I look at Bob and I go, dude, that would be like fighting a gibbon. And he fucking and the guys in front of us lose it. They start laughing, and this guy turns around and goes, gibbon? And I'm like, yeah, it's like a monkey with really long arms. And he goes, I know what it is. I can't believe you said it. Fuck. And Bob's fucking crying. He's like, fighting a gibbon is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. So it's that. I mean, I'm being funny, and people are getting in, and they're leading in, and they're asking me stuff. It's just, I'm starting to get noticed in this section where everybody wants to. I've done it before. Like when I tried out for ABC, that I did a taping by year 1. But it's this again, I have a charisma and I'm funny enough to back it up, and people want to listen to me and be around me. It's a weird thing when it happens. And so there's like these dudes 4 rows behind us. Cause by the way, also this, so we bet the fights. We bet every fight. We had parlays going. We have individual fights. We were 11-2 getting to the final 2 fights. We destroyed. Oh, Jesus. We're winning every fight. We're fucking rejoicing. We're holding our tickets up. People are like, let us see. We're showing the tickets. Fuck it. And we made money. It was fucking gorgeous. We were making all this cash. So these guys sitting in front of us is this guy with his 2 sons. And there's some guys from Canada. There's like 5 of them, and they're sitting with us. And they start joking, and we're joking back and forth. And then we'd win a bet, and they'd be like, how are you winning these bets? We go, it's just, it's the day. Because Bob, I said, degenerate gambler, he'll literally write me on the day of a UFC here, and everybody goes, who we got? Bring home some winners. Because he'll bet it on his phone, on that DraftKings or whatever the fuck. Now, he's only betting $10. Yeah. $10, $20. Now, but in Vegas, it was a little different. He was playing with some serious money. So But people want to know who we were betting, and then like, oh, I got to run to the window and try to get it down possibly. And like, well, you'll never get across the street to the casino, dude. Well, whatever. It was great. So then we get to the final two fights are this girl, Amanda Nunes, who is the greatest female fighter in the history of the UFC. And she's fighting Juliana Pena, who won the Ultimate Fighter once. Complete mismatch. So we loaded up on Pena and tons of dough. And Bob's got a 5-handle parlay. And all that's left on it is Pena and then Chucky Olives, this guy, Charles Oliveira. He's fighting in the main event against Dustin Poirier. Not Poirot. He's the fucking detective. Poirier.
That's a match.
That's a mismatch. I'm not going to lie to you. Chucky Olives, he's going to choke Poirot out. No mystery there to be solved. You're fucking dead, Poirot. So we're waiting. And so Amanda Nunes comes in, and it's like, again, she's both the 135 and 145 women's champion.
Wow. The
previous best fighter in the history of MMA is Cyborg. Nunes knocked her out in 2 minutes. Fucking destroyed her. They can't find opponents for her. And then she comes in to fight Juliana Pena, and we're just like, and again, it's like, that's the lock, which we were sitting in the sports book beforehand, and these guys like, who you got? I go, this guy's like, what about Pena? I go, well, Nunes is the lock of the day. I go, like, you got to tie her into everything. Like, she's not losing. Clearly because she's also like a -6 favorite. So you have to 600. So you have to bet 600 to win 100. You've got to tie her into everything else in order to get any profit. I go, she goes in your parlay just to fucking boost it up. That's it. But she's clearly the lock. So they take the ring and then they start fighting. And then Nunes is tuning her up, just fucking burying her. And then Nunes completely gasses. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then Juliana Pena is just running. She's boxing like she's in a bar. She's throwing like bar haymakers and they're connecting. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're a precision fighter. What the fuck are you doing? And Nunes covers up and she's gassed. She can't even fucking, and Pena's just throwing these bombs out of nowhere, the sloppiest boxing you've ever seen. And it's fucking working. And the first round ends. And I look at Bob, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And they come up for the second round and Nunes fucking blasts Pena in the face. I'm like, here we fucking go. She knocked her down. Pena gets up. And then again with the sloppy boxing. Remember when they used to do Foxy boxing? When it was two fucking topless chicks with big inflatable things on their hands?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And they just threw a bunch of crazy haymakers. And then it's like, I just want to see a nipple. I don't fucking care. Well, Juliana Pena went to Foxy boxing school. She's throwing punches like that. And then she fucking knocks Nunes down and gets on top of her and fucking chokes her out. And the entire arena is exploding because it is truly the greatest upset in the history of the UFC. Other than George St. Pierre and Matt Serra. It is one of the two, you can argue both, but it is arguably the greatest upset in the history of the UFC, which is an amazing thing to celebrate and a ridiculous thing to be in the building for. Unless you've got her tied into a 5-handle parlay, it's going to pay $9,000. Bob would have made $9,000 if she wins and Chucky Olives wins. And he looks at me and we're 11-2. Check that. We're 11-3.
Oh man.
And I had a parlay that I would have won $800 because I'm not Bob, so I don't have that kind of fucking walking around folding money. But still, I had a parlay and she was in it, and I had a 4-handle, and if it would have come through, I would have $800 fucking dollars. And then, of course, the main event starts, and Chucky Olives, great fight. Poirier knocks him down twice. He gets up and knocks Poirier down, and then he fucking chokes him out, and we win that. So we wound up 12-3 for the day. But he lost the 5-handle for $9,000. We were up. We still were up.
Yeah.
But it was phenomenal. So we're sitting there again during the Pena fight ends and we're talking. And the guys in the front row from Canada are talking to the guy with his 2 sons. And they're all from out of town. And they're like, well, we've been seeing the town. And they ask us, where are you guys from? Chicago. And I'm from LA and talking. And the one guy goes, oh, you won't believe this. Pulls out his phone. He goes, check this out. And he slides it over. He goes, look, he's got a picture. His sons met Chuck Liddell at the mall. He's like, look at it. And the guys from Canada are like, dude, that is beautiful. He goes, yeah, it was crazy. Like it wasn't even like an event. We just saw him. And the guy goes, well, wait, check this out. The guy from Canada pulls out his phone and he goes, look, we went to the UFC Performance Center just hanging around to see what it was like. Look at this. They met Dana White.
Wow.
Dana White coming out and took photos with them. Now you recall, I met Dana White in year 3 or year 2, whatever the fuck, go by it. So they do that. And I go, dudes, wait, check this out. And I take out my phone and I slide it and I give them my phone and it's a picture and it's me. And they look at it and they go, what's this? And I go, that's just a great picture of me. It's the greatest ever because they die. Because I go check this out. And I had him on the phone. The guy looks and it's literally just me. And he looks and he goes, "What is it?" And I go, "That's just a great picture of me." And there's a beat and they kind of make a face and then they just like, "Whoa," like the Cosby Kids. They all just like, "Oh." And this guy goes, "That might be the funniest thing I've ever seen." And I'm like, "Give me my phone, baby. I'm dining out on it. Give me it." But it was so clean. And Bob is fucking rolling. He goes, "That's my favorite thing now. That's my new favorite thing. Schmidt, that's my new favorite thing." That's just a great picture of me, dude. Fucking amazing. So the card ended. We fucking went back, and then we bet football all day Sunday. We just had a great time. Now I'll tell you this: we went to an Irish pub because we were hungry in the middle of the night. I'm like, "Let's go, dude." I go, "There's it's 24-hour town, man." Because I go, "I don't want to eat any of these bullshit places in the fucking casino." Because we did. We also ate Nathan's hot dogs once at like 2 a.m. I'm like,
"Oh, there's a hot dog story."
We tied it all up.
No.
So we went to this Irish pub and we walked in. And there was some guys like who looked like they should be at an Irish pub. They're playing fucking darts, and I wanted to eat, so I'm looking at the menu, and they had fucking mushy peas and the whole fucking thing, fish. They had all the food, and the bartender, like we were gonna go to the bar and order, but we sat at a booth, and he came out. I go, "Dude, I would have walked up to the bar," and he goes, "No, big boy, I'm happy to come over here." And he puts his hand on my shoulder and like squeezes my traps, and I'm like, "Oh boy." He was very clearly interested and he was vibing me hard. It was great. But at the same time, no offense, I'm not ready to jump the fence at this point. So we ordered food and I go, "Look, I've never had a pint in a pub." I go, what am I supposed to do? And he goes, "Well, you want a Guinness?" And I go, "Yeah, I do." I go, "But I don't," "You're not going to bring the can?" He goes, "No." He goes, "We got the draft. I'll pull one for you." And I said, "Great." And he got me a pint and had the foam or whatever. And so I'm like, "Bob, what am I supposed to do with this thing?" And he's like, "Schmidt, why'd you order it?" I go, "I got to have I'm Irish. I got to have a fucking pint in a pub. I got to do this." And he goes, "All right, well," he goes, "No, you just drink it. It's fine." And I go, "All right, but is it like, but there's supposed to be a thing like with foam. I'm supposed to get foam on my face or something, right? Am I supposed to do something with the head?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, when you do it, you'll get a mustache or whatever." And I go, "Well, I got to take a photo for people. Why the fuck else did I come to an Irish pub to take a pint if I'm not going to take a photo of this fucking stuff?" So I did. I took a couple of photos with just the Guinness in front of me, and I was going to post them and be like, "All right, this is happening." And then the photo afterwards of the little mustache to show that I actually drank it and people didn't think I was just posing for somebody else's pint, because I've been a pint poser from long past. If you see me in a pub, you know that, oh, there's the pint poser. He's going to pose with the pint here.
That
is
the name of the show, right? Pint poser from here.
Let's do it. Let's write it down. Pint poser from long past. All right, there you go. Because if you see me in a pub, you're like, "Oh, there's the pint poser." All right, so then I took the sip, and then I got the awesome. I'm gonna make, because we're doing video, I'm gonna fucking show it to you. You're gonna be like, "What the fuck?" Although I should post it right now. I should post it.
Post it, yeah.
Well, because I also did that thing last week where I talked about my gray hair, and I didn't post that because nobody gives a fuck about what I talk about in this fucking show. There you go.
Nice.
There's that one, and there's that one, and then hold on. And then I did Stu look.
That's nice.
That's sweet, right? Those are good photos, I think. And then there was my fish and chips and mushy peas at 2 a.m, and it was a delight. It was such a delight.
I like it.
Yeah, it was really good. So whatever. So I love Bob. How funny.
That's for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you sending that. Look at us texting one another and having secrets
during the show.
Sure. Everybody, what's going on over there? You'll never know.
He's going to share all of the photos, I promise.
Sure. Of course I am. I mean, you trust me, don't you?
No.
You don't trust the pint poser from long past?
No.
So we had a brilliant time in Vegas. And then the next day he had to fly out early. I stayed. I went and had sushi by myself. And I went back to the sports book and collected all the bets I won, because we won all day on football. We lost like 2 bets. What a time. I mean, I came home with like $700 when I needed it.
Nice.
And just from betting, it was so fucking beautiful. We had such a great time. And he's like, "Schmidt, we're doing this every year. We got to fucking do this every year, Schmidt. I never fucking see you." I'm like, "I'm in." I go, "You tell me and I'll be ready, and just tell me what we're doing." "Oh, Schmidt." So he texted me, Schmidt. "Oh, Schmidt." So then last night he's in town. And we go to Major Domo, and Same deal like Morimoto, where he's like, just order shit. I don't care. And he's in my town, so I'm going to buy dinner. Major Domo doesn't fuck around price wise. Like if you go to their website, there's no prices, just stuff. You're like, I can't wait to order all this stuff. But then when you get there, there's the menu, and you see that, and you're like, oh well. As I've said once before, and it's a story I told, you want to know where I am in my life? I got sticker shock from a pie. So see what you missed when you weren't on the show? I told that story a long time ago. Bought a $45 pie. All right, so we get the menu, and he's like, dude, and so the waitress comes over, and Bobby is just like, it's up to him. Schmidt's running it, whatever he wants. And so I said, what do you recommend? She goes, well, I like it all. And I'm like, well, I'm not ordering all of it, but I'm going to get damn close. But I'm paying. So in my brain, I'm like, fuck, but I can't skimp on my boy. But also I just coughed up a lot of money, in the last week and a half for a couple of things. And I don't know if I can go into them now because we've talked a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
I will listen later though.
I'm sure you will. No, I'm not going to bore everybody with it now. We'll talk next week, possibly. All right, let me finish this then, and we'll get you out of here. I'm so sorry. I don't mean, I know you're gnarled, and I feel terrible.
You feel
terrible. So he's like, hey, by the way, Schmidt, I've invited some people from work. They might join us. I said, great. I don't care. Whoever. He goes, there's a woman that works with me. She's really great. And a couple of guys, they're awesome. And, they'll come by. And I told him you're the funniest guy in the fucking world. And so, be ready for that. And I'm like,
no pressure.
Of course you did. He goes, well, they think I'm funny. And I go, well, you are fucking funny. And he goes, yeah, but I don't like to say that I'm funny or I used to be a comic because now I do this and it looks like I'm bragging or I'm saying some bullshit. I go, Bob, just be Bob, man. You can't fucking put yourself in this thing where it's like, I used to be a comic, and then but I do recognize that thing where like, if you're being funny and someone knows you're a comic, they think you're on. And it's like, no, Connor, this is just who I am. I mean, I just, I'm not doing this because I'm a comic. I'm a fucking comic because I can do this. I mean, I was like this when I was fucking 13 years old. I mean, it's just, I'm a fucking idiot. So there happens to be a job for it. Luckily. Does not pay what it used to, but it's out there. So he's like, yeah, they might join us. I said, cool. So I ordered crispy potatoes. I ordered a heirloom tomato and stone fruit salad. I ordered crispy shrimp rice, which they put a shrimp consomme on top and they toss it with a Thai fucking salsa. Fried oxtails with peanuts, fucking, because it's a Korean joint. So it's a lot of Korean type fusion. Macaroni ziti, macaroni and chickpea ziti and a miso sauce. I'm ordering all of it. And so then it was like, when we got to the oxtails, I ordered everything and I was like, I didn't get it on this stuff called bling. It's just a fucking Korean fluffy bread. And we got honey butter with it. Whereas you could get, if you wanted, there's like fucking beef shank or whatever, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was all, I'm just ordering all of it. And I know, like I said, I'm paying, so I'm a little whatever. But I don't care. It's my friend and he's in town. But then they have the proteins on the right-hand side of the menu. And they have the boiled chicken, which I think was $45.
Wow.
And then they had the Wagyu tri-tip.
Fuck.
Which was $81. And then they had the bosam, which was it's a pork, it's a Korean pork thing, and that was like $130, and then it had that beef rib that you got to order 24 hours in advance, and it was $210, and it comes with a bunch of sides and shit, but like,
yeah,
but I really wanted that beef rib, but also it says feeds 4 to 5 people, and I'm like, that's a bit much. So I didn't order it when I set the reservations, but then when we sat down, she goes, oh, I have to tell you, I'm really sorry, we're out of 2 things, we're out of the beef rib. And I was like, well, I had 24 hours to order it anyway. She goes, yeah, they say that, but if we have it, we'll make it for you. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I go, all right, never mind. And she laughed. And then I said to him, I'm ordering. And I go, we got to get a protein. I go, do you want oxtails or do you want Wagyu tri-tip? And he goes, well, I've had Wagyu, I had it in Japan. He goes, I've had it there. And he goes, I don't even know what oxtails are. I go, well, oxtails are $28 and Wagyu tri-tip is $81. And since we have 8 other dishes, I think we go with the oxtails. He goes, fantastic. Schmidt, I trust you. And also, I love oxtails. I love them. And he's never had them. And I go, you're going to die. So then the parade starts. They're just bringing out food. And we can't eat, we don't eat a third of it. It's all in my fridge. Because then I said to him, you're taking this shit. And he goes, I'm in a fucking hotel. I go, you got a fridge? Don't fucking lie to me. And he's like, take it, Schmidt. And then he pays for it. Of and I'm course. Like, I go, you don't have to do this. He says, fuck no. I'm in town. Come on. Why would I do that, Schmidt? I never see you. We got to do this. I'm like, fuck. I go, I wouldn't have ordered all that fucking food if I thought you were paying. He's like, yeah, you would have. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I would have probably, but still. So he goes, hey, look, I don't want to put too much pressure on you. He goes, I know you've been already to a show. I don't know what you got going on, but my friends, like, do you want to get a drink with them? Like, because I told them how fucking great you are. I really want them to meet you.
Oh no.
And I'm just like, all right. Yeah. I go, I'm fine. I go, I would love to go. Cause I mean, I like to stay out late and I never get to do it. So I go, sure, man, let's fucking do this. So we finished our food at Major Domo. We hop in the car and we went to the Yard House downtown because they were staying at the Marriott. It's open. You know what I mean? And it's literally
Yard House is the Denny's of bars.
There's no doubt. Clearly.
It's awful.
I mean, I would have taken him to the Powerhouse in Hollywood or whatever. But I'm just saying it's literally right next door to the Marriott.
I know.
And his friends can't all come to Hollywood. They're not mobile, whatever the fuck. Yeah. So I go, the Yard House is right by your hotel. He goes, great, we'll go in there, whatever. So we go to the Yard House and before we go to the Yard House, we're walking out. And I looked at my text. I had my phone off all through dinner and through Chris's show. Like I haven't even looked at my phone. So I pick it up and I'm in a group text with a number I don't recognize. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I open it up and it's Bob. Bob has looped me in with his friends to go, hey, we're at Major Domo. We're just whatever. I didn't know I was in the group text. So then he writes, I read the text as we're walking to my car, leaving Major Domo. And it says, hey guys, heading to Yard House now. It'll be me and Schmidt, and meet us, there just probably at the bar. FYI, he's a big dude, like 450 pounds. So don't be alarmed.
What?
He dresses as such. And I look at my phone and I look at him and I go, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes, what are you talking about? I go, You told your friends not to be scared of me because I'm fat? And he starts laughing and he goes, what the fuck are you talking about? I go, dude, you texted, he's a big dude, like 450 pounds. I go, first of all, you're off by 325 pounds. No, 330 pounds. You're up by 330. 315. Sorry. And I go, and don't be alarmed. What the fuck does that even mean, dude? And I'm not mad. I'm just busting his balls because he's my friend, but I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
Because why the fuck do you think you need to warn your friends that and he just goes, what? I was just telling him, because I also said you're an amazing writer. I go, that doesn't fucking matter. Now they think I'm just locked in an attic somewhere eating fucking food and getting fat while I write treatises nobody will ever fucking read. And he starts laughing. And I go, fuck you. I go, go ahead, text your friends. I go, if they don't know where we're meeting us, tell them the Yard House. Just tell them to look on the horizon for a looming fat guy who pulls up in a Toyota Camry like Godzilla. When they see the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man walking down the fucking street, maybe they can go ahead and relax and they'll realize that I'm coming. Don't be alarmed though. Don't be scared. Up from the depths, 30 stories high, it's fucking Godzilla who's going to step on the Yard House and he'll try to avoid you. And he's dying. You got to stop. I'll throw up all the food I just ate. I go, fuck you. And he goes, I'm serious. I will throw up in your car. And I go, how could you say that to them? And he just goes, well, I didn't. It's what? I just told him. It's like, and I go, for 450 is not even close. I go, I'm 340 right now, dude. I go, you're off by 110 pounds. And he's just like, I don't know. And I go, dude, I used to weigh 500. You knew me then. I had a fucking tiny face and a sea of flesh. Do I look like that now? I got cheekbones and shit. What the fuck? And he's laughing and he's like, I'm going to throw up if you don't shut the fuck up. And I go, you deserve this. I go, why would you kill your fucking head? I go, just don't throw up in my car. Lean your fucking head outside. And then he's like, God damn it, man. I go, no, you literally had to warn your friends that I'm fat and they need to be prepared for that. Like what? Did they just come in and go, where's the fat guy? What the fuck are you giving them that instructional for? And he goes, Schmidt, seriously, you got to stop. And there's a beat. And I go, well, of course, the shopping bag of Korea food that I have in my trunk probably isn't going to go ahead and deter the story anyway. And he starts laughing. I go, yeah, fuck me. I literally have the ribs that tipped over Fred Flintstone's car in my trunk, but they don't tip over the car because fat me's driving it. And we're not going to go fucking ass up. And he's fucking crying, laughing. And I'm like, dude, I go, what is he dresses as such? I go, I have a t-shirt on and shorts. What does that even mean? I went to a comedy show in a fucking black box theater. Am I supposed to rent a tuxedo for you, you fuck? God damn it, Schmidt. Then we go to Yard House and we talk and it's fucking, I love hanging with Bob. He's the fucking best. But I keep busting his balls. I'm just like, anytime anybody walks around, I'm like, I go, is that your friend? I go, because they look terrified and they're trying to find the fattest guy in the bar. Fucking unbelievable. So then we're sitting there and he's finishing, he's drinking, we're talking, we're having a great conversation about his family, his son, all this cool stuff. And he's checking his phone. I go, are they coming, dude? And it was like, now it's 12:15. Mm-hmm. And they close at 12:30 at the Yard House. And he goes, I don't know. He goes, they're hemming and hawing. He goes, but I think the woman is going to make her way over. This girl, Lynette, who he works with. And I go, all right. I go, look, because I go, honestly, I'm fading. I go, because I had to be up yesterday morning early for something that I was going to talk about and not going to get a chance to because I talked about other things. I go, and I'm just kind of, the last 3 days I've averaged 5 hours of sleep and I'm just kind of fading a bit. He goes, yeah, she'll be here. So we're there and this woman walks up and she's lovely and charming. And I meet her, her name's Lynette, and Bob, she sits in Bob's chair and we just start talking about this, and then I bring up, she goes, I did 2 laps. I can't believe you guys didn't see me. And I go, well, I said, honestly, I'm shocked that you didn't see him. I'm clearly the most gigantic person in the bar. And she goes, yeah, what was that? I go, thank you, Bob. What the fuck? And I go, yeah, why would he write that? I go, and also 450 pounds. She goes, I know, right? And she goes, and she literally puts her hand on my face. She goes, you have cheekbones and dimples like you. And I go, exactly, Bob. Come on, Schmidt. And then we wind up talking with her, and she's hysterical. She's great, and also she's I like a woman who will trade. So we're kind of like she doesn't. You can say something, and she's not like, she doesn't clutch any pearls. If anything, she tops you, and then she waits to see what you're going to do, kind of because she's not intimidated or worried, or she's completely comfortable in who she is, and there's no, I'm a woman, you're a man, or you shouldn't do it. She was just great. So awesome. At one point, Bob said something about what if, because there's other people from work and they go, oh, what if he calls? And because I guess there's one guy at their work who is interested in Vice. And I was like, well, I go, I don't know if you guys are up for that. And he goes, well, Lynette, no. And she's like, what are you talking about? She goes, I'm up for whatever we're doing. And he just goes, but not with him. She goes, if he does it, where do you get it? And she goes, no, I would, there's nothing he could suggest that I wouldn't do.
Oh no. And
I lean forward and I go, excuse me. I go, you serious? And she goes, you can name anything. And so I started light because I didn't know who I was dealing with at the time. And I was like, all right, what if he wants to get you involved with one of these whores that he's looking for? And it's just a 3-way. And she goes, yeah, I'd do that. I go, okay, what if he just wants you two to square off while he watches? And she's just like, yeah, all right, that's fine. And I go, okay, what about this? What if he wants to film you while you're, and she goes, no, I'm out of filming. Only because it's an HR problem. No proof. I go, okay. Because now I'm loosening up. I'm like, all right, well, let's see how far you're willing to go with this. I go, how do you feel about throat training? And she goes, am I training him or is he training me?
I love this woman.
She was amazing. She was amazing. I go, all right, what if he's an adult baby? And he wants you to care for him all night. He wants you to change his diapers and feed him milk. And she just goes, oh my God. I go, I win. I won. I just won. Because you're out, right? She goes, I didn't say I was out, but Jesus. And it was that fun, silly back and forth conversation. And again, she's lovely and she was charming, his coworker, and we were getting along great. She lives in Canada. Yeah. And then with the bar closed and a fight broke out between a chubby, short Asian woman and a chubby, short Latina woman. And then a black dude in all cream with a Kangol hat that matched comes over and he starts talking to us, like doing play-by-play, like, oh man, I can't believe this. Bob starts talking to him. We're fucking around, and they're doing. It's the worst kind of fight ever, where you're just like, dude, somebody hit somebody in the fucking face, because it went on for 6 minutes, and I was like, see, this shit shouldn't go on for 6 minutes, because people were breaking it up, and they kept trying to get at one another. I'm like, let them go. Let's see what they do, because if they don't really, they only do this because you know you're going to break it up. Let's see if they want to go round and round. Fucking bring them on the patio and let them fucking go.
Bring them on the patio.
Yeah. Because they were short girls, and it was just like, you're a bitch. No, you're a bitch. No, you're weave. No, you're weave. Whatever the fuck. Terrible. So we leave the bar, and I'm like, I go, we done? What are we doing here? And Bob's like, I don't know. You want to get another over at the hotel? And I'm like, yes. And Lynette's like, yeah, well, I'm in. So we go to the bar, was closed. I was like, fuck. So then we just sat at a table, and we talked for another fucking 2 hours.
Wow.
Moving around, hearing about her and her, she just joined their company a while ago, but she had worked with them before when she was doing another job. And she's got a daughter who lives in England. She's got another beautiful daughter here. And she's just really interesting and cool. And Bob is fucking great. But Bob, he just says that thing. He's like, Schmidt, tell her this. You got to tell her this story. You got to tell her this story. So I'm telling, and he'd be like, oh my God, tell her this story. So I would tell stories, and it was fun, and we were engaging. And then she found out about this show, and then she's like, "Why?" She goes, "I would listen." She's like, "Why don't you send me the 3 best episodes, the 3 episodes that you think I should listen to?" And I was like, "All right." I go, "Well, unfortunately, the one that got the most notice was and it was one that you're probably not going to hear." And Bob goes, "Was that when your ma died?" And I go, "No, my divorce." I go, "It just so happened that was the week The Onion reviewed my show, and they heard it. And this guy literally wrote, 'This is the most devastating episode of a podcast I've ever heard.'" And I got thousands of followers the next day. And I was so disappointed when the next week I talked about the Pied Piper for 40 minutes. When I name checked 45 80s porn stars in one episode. So, and she's like, "Well, just send me the 3 because that sounds really amazing." And he's like, "Well, you got to tell her the Rick James story." So I told her the Rick James story at the bar.
Oh yeah,
at the House of Blues by year 1. And so then it got into my bouncing stories and stuff. And then I told the story of when and then he goes, "Tell the karaoke story," where I was on the road at the comedy club and the karaoke thing, and in that story I wound up in a fight, and then I punched myself in the face like 20 times or whatever, and then there's the story about when I did it at the House of Blues, and I banged that guy's head off the fucking metal wall, and he was bleeding. And then I did the same thing. I went and I punched myself in the face 20 times. And then I'm sitting there, and I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, this woman is really, she's attractive, she's interesting, she's smart, and she's charming. And you warned her not to be alarmed at my appearance. And I'm finding her interesting in all of these things I've just mentioned. And I've now told her a story about how I had to punch myself 20 times in the face to avoid incarceration. Twice. So as interesting and as charming and as fun as she is, it's not just the distance between here and Canada that would stand in the way of anything ever being consummated or tried. Because the second I was like, "Hey, would you want to get a sandwich or dinner or a drink or go to a movie?" And she'd be like, "How many times will you punch yourself in the face that night?" It was fantastic. I love my friend. It was great to see him. All right, how you holding up? You gotta go get a heating pad on.
I have to go jump into my hot tub and see if I can get my bones to move.
You do that. Oh, your skeleton is rebelling. All right. Well, I'm glad you were here. You were lovely.
Tell me you exchanged numbers, please.
Oh no, we didn't. Of course not. She's just a nice person, and you can't do any of that stuff. But I'm just saying that even the thought, this is my curse. The thought of like, I was like, we're getting along. She's nice and she's attractive, and she seems like she thinks I'm funny and interesting.
Just even as a friend.
Well, maybe she's in that text chain where they warned them about me. Maybe I'll be able to pick one of those numbers out.
That's true.
But yeah, literally told 2 different stories, right? To punch myself in the face. I'm like, yeah, no, this is not, never fucking, even to hang out, she wants nothing to do with it. But it was fun to meet her and talk to her. And then just to see Bob was fucking amazing. I love him. Huge fan. Because I don't have, my friends here are either married or they have families, or they're just
broken
like yourself. They're not. Bob's a guy.
Yeah.
I you know what I mean? Like, none of my other friends be like, where's the whores? We got to find the whores, dude. You know what I mean? And he doesn't mean it, but just the very fact that he'd say it and you're like, well, you could pull that off. And I love it. He'll have a fucking highball and tell fucking dumb stories. And it's just, this was something funny. When Charlie Murphy was talking about Rick James on the Chappelle Stories, I can't use the phrase that he used, but he was describing Rick James when he met him, and he said he was mad N-word-ish.
Yeah.
Which meant that he was a rough and tumble fucking dude.
Yeah.
And Charlie Murphy was like, I like that. Because he was hanging around with a lot of Hollywood fucking guys from Eddie Murphy or whatever, and he liked a guy who was kind of street, kind of rough, kind of ballsy. And Bob has that in him, and it brings that out of me. Like kind of that Chicago that doesn't show up a lot. Because I mean, I can be anything you want me to be, but at my essence, Southside Irish Chicago land guy is exactly who I am, and so when I'm with him, it's fun because you kind of get to be that, and also it doesn't hurt that he literally thinks I'm the funniest person he's ever met, and he wants to hear all of my stories 100 times. So, which is fine with me, because believe me, when you find that's all you need when you get old. You got to find someone who just doesn't mind hearing your same stories 100 fucking times. And I know Bob's one, and I can only hope that anybody out there listening is on that club as well. All right, go in your hot tub and soak, and thank you for giving me this time. And I need both of these audio tracks from you when you get it.
Of course. It is always a pleasure to chat with you.
All right,
and I'm glad you're okay.
What does that mean? In what context? In what context am I okay?
The pictures you put on Facebook scared the hell out of me.
Oh yeah, no, I'll talk about that next week.
All right,
because this all went away. All right, yep.
All right, we'll talk soon.
If there's anything I like more than me, it's people who like me. I love me, but if you love me, I love you. 'Cause you know why, we both love me. How great am I? Let's talk about that for a while. And by a while, I mean forever.
Hi, everybody. This is Todd Glass. What could I say that would make you want to give the Todd Glass Show a listen? Well, I guess you could poke around on YouTube, and if some of the stuff over there makes you laugh or my Netflix special act happy, then maybe you'll give it a listen. The only other thing I could do is make it short because it's interrupting a podcast you already love. Okay, I'm done. Thank you. Goodbye.